This is not the first time Taylor has workshopped a hit piece on MrBeast.
Why is this 41-year-old obsessed with this guy?
Taylor knows the Twitter trap well. It's why she auto-deletes all of her tweets every 90 days.
What are you afraid of if you're doing something like that?
What did happen to Girl with No Job?
I'm assuming she had to get a job.
Taylor Lorenz
Doxed.
for views.
Wait, did she really dox her?
Taylor was at the Charlottesville rally and reported that the hate-filled driver who mowed into a group of people did it essentially on accident.
This is the problem with doing breaking news. You're like trying to just get out as much information as possible for social media attention so you can try to build a career. Now I know why she likes Hassan, because she is super comfortable with lying constantly. All right, guys, it's time to do this silly little Taylor Lorenz video. It's content cop Taylor Lorenz. You guys know who she is. I fucking hate Taylor Lorenz, though. I remember, and I'm paraphrasing it, and I'll try to remember to put it into my description of this video. But I remember back in the day, I had an interaction with her probably in like 2020 or 2021 in some New York Times article she posted. It was fucking horrible. There's this kid named Denelli. He was like a 17-year-old kid. And he used to post videos, really low effort, you know, just like Cabby Leem, just looking at the camera. But the guy was popular. Had like 3 million followers on his account. And I remember he would do videos where he would do a stitch. So it was him on one side and somebody else on the other side. On his, he would just have a face on one side and he'd go like, yeah, if it was like a satisfying thing, or he would go like this, or he would hold a flat face. And sometimes he would do videos of like dudes that dress up like girls, and then he would have like the flat face afterwards. And people consider stuff like that homophobic and maybe even transphobic, depending on who it was. And I understand that. And he got some heat for that, and he apologized, and I think he deserved heat. But then he lost his account. And then he lost his second account. And then he was basically consistently blacklisted because people were mass reporting him. And then, of course, Taylor Lorenz, and this is from what I remember, did not interview him, but interviewed somebody else. I believe it was this guy, Throbbert or something, who went on his live stream, said a whole bunch of shitty things about the guy. His name was Denelli, by the way. And so Denelli went on his live stream, because at this point in time, he still had one of his accounts left that had like some follower base, because he had several accounts. And he just played the audio of that guy, and people started like criticizing him. But then this Throbbert guy was like, he sent threats to me, blah, blah, blah. They started really hamming it up. And Taylor Lorenz didn't interview this kid, didn't interview anybody that was on the kid's side, or anybody. Which my perspective was like, what he did was wrong, but like he doesn't deserve to be permanently fucking canceled, some 17-year-old kid. And that was my first interaction with Taylor Lorenz being a shitty journalist. So, you know, I don't like her. I don't think that she's ever been honest. I think that she's somebody who she knows what she's allowed to say and whatever line, and she's, you know, that's pretty much all she does. I don't think that she really cares about anything. So, yeah.
Here in New York City, the concrete jungle, home of literary lions, Wall Street bears, and reptilian reporters.
Whoa.
But today, our focus is on one particular viper who sits at the highest steps of journalism. That
What an interesting intro. Is this guy really just walking through New York? What the fuck?
is the New York Times building. And inside is a reporter who will suffocate your career like silent halon gas. They are a cobra of carnage. They are the worst reporter working in media. And I think it's time someone spoke out on their lies.
Wow, this video is like a few years old, so it sounds like nothing's changed.
Let's begin.
Let's do it, Daddy. I mean, sir.
That journalist is Taylor Lorenz. For those not familiar, she is a tech reporter for the New York Times that is frequently featured.
She's a tech reporter? What? She claims to be poor, but her uncle literally started Internet Access Archives TV division? Interesting. I wouldn't doubt that, dude.
On the front page and read by millions of people who trust her opinion on millennials and Gen Z. But should they?
Hey guys, I'm 40. Do you think I know? Right, she's 40 years old. Guys, do you think I have my finger on the dial? Guys, is my finger on the dial?
Because Taylor
Or she's 41. That's crazy.
has quickly become one of the most toxic, deceptful reporters working in American journalism. And it's time someone blew the lid off this on YouTube. She has a pattern of bullying, deception, targeted
intimidation,
and lies.
Why did you use AI for that?
And for YouTube, who is watching this video very carefully, this is not creator
intimidation.
This is legitimate professional criticism by a peer. Here's me doing a story with Ali Watkins.
So this is Ali Watkins, a reporter for BuzzFeed News. And I first became interested in this story.
Now at the New York Times. Here's me doing a story with Charlie Wiesel.
So once everything healed, I decided that I needed to start.
Now at the New York Times. Here's me doing an investigative piece on academic fraud with Yahoo News. This will be a professional video. Look.
Why is he so concerned that, what does he think that she's gonna like go after him in like a way to try to get the video taken out? I mean, I guess that's possible.
This is Brooks Brothers. Here in New York, we try to elevate our discourse. So today we're gonna document how Taylor attacks women. How, in my opinion, she manipulates
teenagers
with her power.
What is happening with the fucking way? Why does he keep doing this?
Balance. And what makes her
Maybe it's just part of the flow of the video.
reporting so toxic to the YouTube community that it's time creators, influencers, and YouTube stop taking her press seriously. You see,
Damn.
Taylor Lorenz's
Well, I think that part of the way that she probably was able to operate without too much criticism is because she's talking about dumb online shit nobody fucking cares about. Which you could argue about, like, even us. Like, you know, who the fuck cares about, you know, the dumb online bullshit that we're fucking talking about, you know?
reporting is like a fractal. In isolation, it appears chaotic and random. But the closer we look in this video, the more a recurring pattern will reveal itself. A pattern that shows this reporter is a clout chaser
Damn.
and a liar.
All right.
In order to establish this reporter chases clout, we must first use one of Mrs. Lorenz.
Well, I mean, I'm assuming when he says cloud chaser, it's not so much about like, hey, she does topics that are popular. It's more that she will be potentially deceptive about topics just for attention, which that's what a cloud chaser is, you know, to me, not just somebody who wants, I mean, I want attention. I just want it to be positive and productive, you know?
Lorenz's own tricks and go back in time. A few weeks ago, Taylor Lorenz put out a fishing line for any dirt on MrBeast. She
Whoa, MrBeast!
tweeted from her account of 250,000 followers.
Looking to speak to some of the world's biggest MrBeast fans, people who know everything about his content and have followed his
Well, this is before he had all that controversy, but frankly, I think a lot of MrBeast controversy was like overblown nonsense.
every move. Is that you?
And I know not everybody spends their life on YouTube, so for people with real jobs, MrBeast is one of the most family-friendly creators on YouTube. His real name is Jimmy. He's a young guy who lives in...
I mean, even now, what are the biggest controversies? That, you know, his friend is incredibly fucking weird and cringe. And what else? That dog pack video came out, and like of the 40 allegations, one of them had some merit to them, and it wasn't even that big of a deal.
North Carolina, and is known for giving away money to working class and service workers. He famously...
I would say of like all the rich people, MrBeast seems to be like kind of a decent guy, honestly. Like, he seems to be one of the people who is rich but still like cares about people. Obviously, he does his content for money, but like he also seems to like genuinely want to help people, right? All right, that's at least how I interpret it.
They gave away lots of money to delivery drivers.
That's alright. Yeah, that's alright.
Since you downloaded it, it's a good tip.
That's how I feel when I give them a 30% tip when they deliver my Domino's at pouring rain at 11 o'clock at night. Thank you. Typically a minority, of course. You know, so basically, MrBeast is doing a form of reparations because, you know, white people don't really drive to get food like that. You know what I mean? It's unfortunate. You know?
Appreciate it.
But as a person with a media-trained eye, I can tell you this tweet is no friendly fishing expedition.
Probably
He's like
not.
Captain Ahab aiming to our...
I think that MrBeast is like a big character, and a lot of people want to go after MrBeast because, hey, I want to take down the Titan, and so they just kind of like jump on board.
MrBeast like a giant viral whale, which
Whoa.
if she's a normal reporter, fine. But this reporter is more like a Soviet scientist who starts with the conclusion she wants and then searches backwards for any evidence she can use to fit that conclusion.
Yeah, I mean, that's unfortunate. Like, usually the way I try to operate is like, hey, I look at information and then I will draw a conclusion. But there are a lot of people who are just looking for a conclusion to be drawn. And so they just search for it. And that is, I mean, I guess I don't really know if that's Taylor Lorenz, but I mean, I wouldn't doubt it, so.
Even if it doesn't quite want to fit. And indeed, I was correct. My powers of prediction accurate. Because while I was working on this video, Taylor published this hit piece on MrBeast.
Oh my god.
With all
he printed it out?
the accuracy of Soviet Lyshenko farming.
The story is roughly about Jimmy's idolization of Elon Musk, but also how Jimmy has a
Well, I mean, like Elon Musk, I don't think 4 years ago was quite the, we'll say, threat that he is now. Although him and Trump seem to have that a little bit of a falling out, so there's a positive there, huh?
toxic work environment and allegedly degrades some of his employees.
Toxic work environment.
At least according to Taylor and her subject Matt Turner and Nate Anderson.
Now, all stories are like houses. Each narrative has a set of evidence that act as load-bearing walls that support the rest of the story. But Taylor is the cheapest contractor on planet Earth. The evidence, her load-bearing walls, well, her main subject, Nat Turner, has a history of contradicting himself.
Writing on Twitter, it was the most mentally degrading time of my life, and saying in Taylor's article, MrBeast used to degrade him every day and leave him in tears.
And then makes a video praising
Why are all these people that oh my god. Okay.
MrBeast.
If you have the opportunity to get this job that I had, totally take it. It's a lot of fun. Well, it was basically just like a friendship, and going to work was a blast each and every.
Is this another person who worked with MrBeast? And then try to like cancel him after it ended for whatever reason? I'm assuming they just weren't a good fit anymore, and they like go around and they like complain how terrible of a person MrBeast is. What the fuck?
day. MrBeast,
MrBeast,
love you, bro.
me too, dude.
Magically, that
I
video
love you,
did not
Mr.
make
Beast.
it into her article. Her second load-bearing wall for this article is MrBeast's history of problematic slurs, or as she writes,
Shit, or what it really is growing up a young man. Unfortunately, you know, we do be saying slurs as youngsters. Unfortunately, you know, I mean, it's just one of those things, man. It's just one of those things that's unfortunate. It's part of the growing up experience. I don't know, man. Online video games are fucking crazy. So
his early videos and posts were criticized for their use
obviously slurs are bad, but you know, it's kind of happens when you're young and edgy on the internet.
of slurs and offensive jokes.
Oh shit.
The person who criticized MrBeast for his slurs and offensive jokes was Taylor Lorenz. I know
my
this
goodness.
because this is not the first time Taylor has workshopped a hit piece on MrBeast. She's been trying
Why
to
is she so desperate to go after MrBeast? What the fuck? How old is MrBeast? Why is this 41-year-old obsessed with this guy?
nail him for years. It's 2018 and MrBeast is searing to
27 now. Okay.
the top of YouTube like a SpaceX rocket.
I mean, I wouldn't doubt that part of it is because, well, she's part of the left. Like, well, part of it I wouldn't doubt is because she probably like is jealous. You know, because I mean, like, who wouldn't be? You got like a young person that's like fucking rich. Good for them though. But then also like he's a millionaire that tries to do good, but like right now, socially, millionaires are terrible people that can never do good. But again, MrBeast seems to be one of the good ones. You know what I'm saying? He seems to be one of the good ones.
Taylor publishes this article. MrBeast has a history of homophobic comments. Extraordinary headline.
my God.
You may have even
I mean, this all tracks. This actually tracks with her and like trying to go after people. Trying to just go after people for like past mistakes. They like she doesn't give them opportunities to like learn or change. I find it so weird. Like when it's young people who do this shit to each other, I think it's like stupid already, you know. But I find it so weird when it's when it's older people who you think they would understand that like people all make mistakes. Like you're older, you should understand that people make mistakes and they can grow and learn from it. But I guess like that's not what part of her job is, and to like be a normal functioning human being. And part of her job is to just sensationalize drama on the internet. I mean, I love talking about drama. That's what we do here, but sensationalizing it is fucking ridiculous.
seen it and judge MrBeast for it. But if we peer past the headline, her entire article is held up by 3 tweets. 3 tweets are her evidence for his history of homophobic comments. And the tweets are, I will read the examples. In 2015, he tweeted, "Windows is gay." I guess in
Okay, great.
regards to his computer. In 2016, he tweeted, "I don't have a printer." And in
I don't have a printer. What is the thing that he says? He's like the F slur or something?
2017, he tweeted, "STFU."
What is the word that he said? Is it? I probably said the R slur.
That's it. It's almost like this reporter wanted a provocative story on a big YouTuber, like here's her fishing line on Jake Paul, but all she could find were 3 tweets from his teenage years So made a story around that. Rather than let go and acknowledging there's no story and MrBeast is not a homophobe.
Yeah, okay, so I guess one of them was like the F slur, whatever, man. Like, it happened in, what, 2017, 2018? He's 27 years old now. 2018 was he like fucking 18? Like, hey, MrBeast, don't use those words anymore.
She wove those 3 tweets together like she's Joseph making a dream coat. Call me generous, but
I'm just happy that I did not have a social media presence when I was younger saying fucking tremendously worse than that, man. I'm just being fucking real with you. That's shit's crazy.
3 tweets is not a pattern. It's nothing except for Taylor. The first thing we should know about this reporter, it's one of her reporting tactics. To mine new...
Well, it's not even that it's not a pattern. I mean, I think it's still wrong to say like slurs. I don't even know exactly what they are because they were like heavily censored. It's not good to say slurs, but I think that we can understand that, like, you know, especially young people can be stupid, and then like he said stupid shit on the internet, and like that's not good. As long as he's not doing it anymore, who cares? You know?
Newly famous people's Twitter accounts searching for anything
like
negative.
I don't think those 3 tweets make him homophobic or whatever, depending on the slur used. But like they're just like, he's probably just trying to be edgy, but you know, again, we can give people an opportunity to fucking like change, right? So
if they've ever written. I call it the Twitter trap.
The Twitter trap.
The act of rifling through years of a person's tweets to assign negative meaning to someone's character. Select tweets are used to establish a pattern while omitting context or time elapsed between them. Can usually be done against anyone, a common tool of lowbrow journalism. Scientific term, cherry picking, or p-hacking.
Taylor knows the Twitter trap well. It's why she auto-deletes all of her tweets every 90 days. She
what, does she really? That's fucking pathetic on her part then. What the hell?
deletes them all and has for years. This New York Times reporter is too cowardly to stand by anything she tweets, but she has no problem mining a decade's worth of other people's tweets and assigning meaning to them.
Is that fucking real? Does she used to actually fucking delete her tweets every 90 days? What are you afraid of if you're doing something like that? That's really strange behavior. That means that... What? Why would you do that? Unless you thought that maybe some of the things that you might say at a certain time might not hold up. Which in that case, you would acknowledge that like socially acceptable things change over time. So you would understand that, like, especially on Twitter, people saying like rancid shit was more acceptable back then, and things change as time goes on. What the fuck?
That helps her make a viral story. And if the article she writes isn't enough to sink them the first time, she'll circle around and try it again a second time. Even if it requires citing a subject who contradicts himself.
MrBeast, I fucking love you, bro.
I
Her own
fucking love you,
flimsy
Mr.
prior
Beast.
historic work. Windows is gay. Now, Taylor will say, because I'm no fool, that her reporting is made up of 11 people. Quick edit in for evidence. I know Taylor will argue this because I have all of her Discord messages. Told you I had receipts.
Damn, from him and her? What the fuck?
These particular tailored Discord messages came right after YouTuber Philip DeFranco had made a video also pointing out Matt Turner's video praising MrBeast and wondering aloud if Taylor was being entirely honest in her story.
But also,
I mean, that's fair. I mean, maybe the guy changed his mind, or also maybe he sensationalized. Maybe what happened is he stopped working with MrBeast in some capacity, and then all of a sudden he decided to shift his perspective because he was upset and he couldn't be popular outside of that, and blah 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 blah. So he's looking for his viral moment.
so now we're seeing a lot of pushback on social media against the claims in the Times article. And that's because of a now deleted video from Turner, who of course is one of the main accusers in this article.
Taylor was not happy with Philip DeFranco and started writing on Discord.
She writes, I spoke to 11 former employees, some very senior and close with MrBeast, and people who worked with him. So this is not like one person. But Taylor doesn't state whether those 11 former employees agree with the assertions in her article and what Turner, her main subject, says. Speaking of Turner, Turner posted that nice video about MrBeast, basically under duress. It's something I interviewed him about and talked to him about at length. Phil would know that if he did research.
He put the video out about how much he liked MrBeast under duress. What does duress mean here?
Or simply even asked me. So Taylor was aware that Turner had made a positive video praising MrBeast, interviewed him, spoke to him at length about it, and then chose to omit that fact in her article. And when it is
What does it mean that he said it under duress? What the fuck does that even mean? What?
pointed out that Turner, her main subject, has a video contradicting himself, praising MrBeast, she argues that, well, he made it under duress, even though I admitted the fact that I didn't include the video, nor the fact that he
Yeah, I mean, the fact that you didn't talk about it suggests that you're trying to hide it in the first place.
allegedly did it under duress, with no evidence cited for that. And we would all know this, including Philip DeFranco, if we had simply had the presence of mind to reach out to
this New York Times reporter directly to ask her for the full context of the story because she left out half of it.
Okay.
Now, I won't read too much more of this. I think people have a right to trash talk on Discord, but I will include a few quotes. Philip DeFranco, if you're wondering how Taylor talks about you behind your back, she writes, "This is gross of Phil and shows how these big rich creators don't want any accountability." She's referring.
What? How is it gross of him to be like, hey, you omitted this information about MrBeast? Don't you think that's suspicious? You're the reporter. You're supposed to have you're a journalist. You're supposed to have actually a higher standard set onto you. And yet Philip DeFranco, which is a journalist as well, but he's an independent journalist, seems to act in a more responsible way than you do. So that's fucking embarrassing for Taylor Lorenz. I mean, that's fucking insane.
Referring to the video you made. It further emphasizes how these big creators have never and will never hold their peers accountable. I guess the case doesn't factor into her opinion. Many of these big YouTubers also boosted Dobrik for years and Jake Paul even before that. It's really frustrating and maddening coming from Philip DeFranco, who postures as a journalist and even takes journalism grants for his channel. Okay.
He takes journalism. I mean, maybe he holds himself. I mean, if he's getting journalism grants, I'm assuming from the government, would that not insinuate that like the content that he does is like high enough of a standard? Or is like reputable enough to, get them in the first place? Like, doesn't that mean that he's doing solid content work? No? I mean, that insinuates to me that he does a really good job if he's getting fucking grants for his shit.
Okay, I'm in a Twitter war with Philly D. Now, LOL. I hope you guys give Phil a piece of your mind. It's super gross to see him act like this and push right-wing, anti-mainstream media rhetoric.
What right-wing rhetoric does he push? What the fuck?
Well, Philip DeFranco, your actions are gross. You're pushing
Wait, what is Philip DeFranco? What was he saying 4 years ago that was like fucking, that was like right-wing shit?
Right-wing mainstream media rhetoric, and she
because he gave MrBeast a fair shake.
Like her fans to give you a piece of their mind. Now, I realize
it's so crazy because people who do like the type of stuff Taylor does, like pop culture shit, are so toxic, and I know that like we do it too. But, like even Ethan Klein, like I like him. I like the pettiness, but like even some of that shit like is fucking like it's petty, it's toxic. Like pettiness and toxicity go like fucking hand in hand. You know what I mean? Except the difference is Taylor like she seems to posture herself as like a real journalist, especially based on what she said here. You know, if she's criticizing Phil for not being a real journalist.
You two, Philip DeFranco and Taylor, made nice in the DMs. I know this because I had the Discord messages. But I thought it might be fascinating, Philip DeFranco, or Philip DeFranco's audience, or this audience, to understand how Taylor talks about people behind their back.
Also, interesting to note Taylor employs the tactic of sicking her fans on someone when they say something she dislikes. A tactic that is widely viewed as gross and harassment when done by influencers in the YouTube community.
I won't air anymore.
I hope you guys give Phil a piece of your mind. It's super gross to see him acting like this and push all right. Yeah, I mean, that is a light call to harassment, no?
Discord messages. That's enough of this. I tell you this MrBeast story because it sets the tenor of her reporting. Negative and manipulative. It establishes this New York Times reporter will seek to find a pattern where none exists, will assume the most negative intent from an ambiguous situation, Windows is gay, and run stories where her main subject contradicts her own thesis.
Windows do be gay.
MrBeast, I love you, bro.
But most importantly, she will disregard the journalism principle, minimizing harm. Taylor Lorenz doesn't care whom she harms on her quest for virality. And we're just getting started. The same year MrBeast was labeled a homophobe, two entrepreneurial women, Jackie and Claudia Oshry, were growing the Instagram account Girl With No Job.
Who the fuck are these people?
It was their livelihood.
I guess they didn't really stand the test of time, huh?
And if you're a female millennial, you may even be wondering, oh yeah, what did happen to Girl With No Job?
I'm assuming she had to get a job.
Taylor Lorenz is what happened to Girl With No Job. Taylor Lorenz
doxed
for views.
Wait, did she really dox her for views? Base? No, I'm just kidding.
For some reason, Taylor Lorenz's clout radar locked on to Jackie and Claudia Oshry. I'm not sure why, and neither is Claudia. Perhaps it has something to do with them being young, successful, entrepreneurial women. Taylor seems to have a pattern of attacking them, but more on that later.
Like MrBeast.
I mean, I wouldn't doubt it that if Taylor was going after people that she were like maybe potentially more successful than her, that she was jealous about.
This reporter saw an opportunity to cash in on Girl with No Job's virality. She began digging into the private lives of these young girls. It's so much easier when your subjects are young. Am I right? Did she find Claudia or Jackie breaking the law? No. Did you find Claudia or Jackie?
Well, maybe they were being cringe on the internet, guys. You know, isn't that basically breaking the law?
Anything morally wrong? No. However, as usual, this reporter did discover some mean tweets they wrote as teenagers.
Yes, of course. Listening to Obama talk about ISIS is like listening to me talk about boys. I don't understand the enemy. It's not even that bad. It's just like silly. What the fuck?
Taylor, again, using the Twitter trap despite deleting her own tweets. But even more juicy, she learned the name of Claudia and Jackie's mom, Pamela Geller. And Pamela Geller was a Trump supporter and an Islamophobe. Taylor,
oh, Jesus Christ. Well, that's their mom. I mean, that's not good, but why are we bringing that up?
Taylor found out who Claudia's mom was and then used Claudia's mom's name and history as a weapon against her to build a negative viral story around her. And that story was to expose their mother-daughter relationship to the entire world, publishing the article, Instagram Stars Hiding Their Famous Muslim-Hating Mom, Pamela Geller.
Damn, cattier than me.
The story immediately broke waves the size of the San Andreas Fault. It's a scoop, yes, but one we should all feel gross about. Because Taylor publicly
boxing
Claudia's mom forces a situation.
Is it doxing? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't really care about the mom too much. I just think that like the forceful link association is kind of shitty. I mean, like some people's moms are pieces of shit. I mean, if she's saying like legitimately Islamophobic shit herself, then like sure, you want to get that link. I don't think that's so bad. You know, but is that what was happening? Like, that would be where my brain would go to. Like, oh, were they also doing the same shit? Probably not on the internet. Okay. I mean, that was the landscape, I guess, back then, was being super toxic and being justified to be super toxic.
Where the daughters must respond by...
Yeah, I mean, my mom voted Trump. I certainly don't have the same fucking opinion as she does.
One, either publicly disowning their mom in order to save their Instagram account and brand, or two, choose not to publicly disown their own mom, but create the perception that they now tacitly approve of their mom's kooky beliefs. Taylor knows this and sticks the metaphorical knife in them, writing, quote, none of the girls have spoken out or denounced their mother's extremist views. In fact...
Well, I mean, that kind of makes sense that they wouldn't do that. Like, put their mom on blast. They might have complicated feelings about their mother being a fucking moron. I don't know.
The daughters had gone to great lengths to conceal their connection to their mother. Family photos, including their mother, have been stripped from their Instagrams. Like the MrBeast article, this story reads like the reporter wanted a negative story on Claudia and then sought out anything they could use as evidence to push her in a bad light. In this case, her mom. A story exposing the sins of someone's parents, but not them, telegraphs a desire for clicks and hurt for these women. And this article hurt Claudia badly. Verizon Media canceled her show, her agent dropped her management dropped her, partnerships dropped her career...
Well, I mean, that would be the cancel culture people are complaining about.
It was effectively over. But worse, this reporter's story possibly recklessly put Claudia and her sisters in danger. 6 months prior...
It's crazy how toxic things were. I mean, Trump wasn't good back then either, though he wasn't as bad as he is now, I'll tell you that much. But I mean, fucking ruining somebody's career over their mom being an Islamophobic piece of dog shit, but them not, I'm going to assume. Maybe they are, I don't know. I mean, that's some pretty low bar shit, huh?
Taylor publicly exposing Claudia and Jackie as Pamela Geller's kids. The FBI had caught an reporter plotting to murder Pamela Geller. Someone was actively trying to kill... A person was actively trying to murder Pamela Geller when Taylor publicly went, oh hey, by the way, those are her kids, to the world. Perhaps the daughters, as public figures, had a legitimate safety reason for hiding their relationship with their mom from the...
Well, I don't know if it was a legitimate safety reason. I don't know that it's necessarily her fault for the death threat. Did somebody actually try to kill their mom, or was it like death threats? I still think it was irresponsible and shitty. It's clear that they're just desperate to try to like fucking ruin these people for social media attention. You know, some people are just ashamed of their parents, but their parents, it's still their parents, and they just feel kind of ashamed about it, but they still love their mom, and they're like, wow, it could, you know, be a lot of complicated emotions there. I just think it's irresponsible. I don't know if she's necessarily responsible for the death threat part unless she actively called for it. But I still think it's just like pathetic and gross.
The public, beyond just their brand deals. They didn't want to get killed. So Taylor went after MrBeast for a few problematic tweets, and went after Claudia and Jackie for a problematic mother, which is funny because Taylor knows all about problematic takes.
Oh, that's exciting. Let's see him. It would be very funny if we got to see some really like unironically fucking problematic takes from her that exposed her as a fucking hypocritical bitch.
In 2017, Taylor was at the Charlottesville rally and reported that the hate-filled driver who mowed into a group of people and murdered a person did it essentially, according to her, on accident. Tweeting after she spoke to the police, quote, "Anyway, several police officers here at the station think the guy running people down wasn't malicious. They said the driver was scared."
Okay.
Thank you for that, Taylor. Now, I know Taylor...
I don't really know what that proves, only because, like, she's reporting on what they said. So I don't really... Like, what was said before that? Anyway, several police officers at the station here think the guy running police down wasn't malicious. They said the driver was scared. I don't know. There's not enough context in that tweet for me to be like, oh my god, what a bad person, based on that tweet alone.
Taylor tried to delete these tweets.
Okay, hold on.
Thank you for that.
They are.
Taylor? Now, I know Taylor tried to delete these tweets.
Okay, so also people asking, I'm fine, really fucking pissed at the guy who punched me, mostly because he cut off my stream. This car was being swarmed by protesters and some of them were getting violent, like the guy who punched me and threw me down. Anyway, police officers at the station here think the guy running over wasn't doing it malicious. He was scared. The car was not the one that mowed people down. That was a different gray car. If you watch the earlier part of my stream, you could see the anti-right wing chasing after a Lexus and throwing rocks, bottles, and a shoe. The driver was taken into police custody. Right after the incident, police say the car was covered in dents prior to and apparently hit by a bat. I have no like actual opinion on this because I know of like the Charlottesville riots. I'm not like super familiar with the exact way that the case went with the car, so I don't know if
tweets. So
I wouldn't have expected her to be. Was she more right leaning at that time or something? Or
I'll dig up hers. She goes on to say that the counter-protesters, or as the media would later deem non-violent protesters, were, quote, according to her, the car is being swarmed by protesters, some of them who are getting violent. The police say the car was covered in dents and apparently hit by a bat. They're throwing rocks, bottles, and shoes. But when her reporter...
I mean, this is the problem with doing fucking breaking news, is when you're like trying to just get out as much information as possible for social media attention so you can try to build a career. That kind of shit's going to happen. That's one of the problems with all this breaking news shit.
And these tweets later did not fit the dominant narrative. She deleted her problematic reporting. Tried to scrub it off the internet.
I think that shows more of like a willingness to be part of like the problem with breaking news content that's like really just constantly just tries to instantly have all the information for attention, fucks things up constantly, ends up sensationalizing different narratives and like causing legitimate problems instead of people getting a fully informed perspectives. It's like, okay, what do we know right now, even if it's not actually like substantive.
She deleted these tweets and pretended like she never made a big mistake. Or was it a mistake? Given what she recorded, wrote, and then deleted, either she was an incorrect witness, misreported what she saw, then deleted her problematic reporting and tried to pretend like she never said anything else, or she tweeted a narrative of events, and when that narrative of events contradicted the prevailing narrative enough, she wanted to be on the correct side of history and decided she would just try to scrub her problematic reporting, erase it, and quietly go with the new narrative and act like she never said anything differently. Which, as we know, this lack of accountability and waffling on what is the true story is the kind of journalistic ethics we would expect from the prestigious New York Times.
I mean, I wouldn't doubt. I don't think that she's beyond lying for attention. So it seemed like a lot of those were more breaking news tweets where it's like, oh, the police said ABCDXYZ. I don't know, maybe some of those police officers are racist. I don't fucking know. Wanted to protect the guy, or maybe they were telling the truth, or maybe they were just, maybe they were just kind of giving their opinion, or maybe they're just trying to giving their opinion or perspective on things. And she put them out there, and it made her look bad because, again, they were generally uninformed. You know, so there could be maliciousness to it. Maybe there's not maliciousness to it. I mean, she seems to be a malicious person, so she's not going to get charity from people. That's the problem. But again, breaking news content's a fucking plague. So.
But the larger question is, why did this reporter editorialize her own narrative on top of the footage she was already filming for The Hill? Like her tweets, I found her live stream. And the video reporting is fine. The video captures accurately what occurred. But then she tweeted that protesters violently swarmed the car, throwing rocks, bottles, and shoes, only to magically delete those tweets. Swarm the car.
This car was being swarmed by protesters. Okay.
Throwing rocks, bottles, and shoes, only to magically delete those.
I just wanted to see if it was like the police. The police said that, or if she said that. Like if she's saying the police said that. Yeah.
Tweets and claimed she was live streaming to over 3 million people when that's false. Anyone can.
Yeah, I was clocked up to the ground while I was live streaming in front of 3 million people. Why would she lie about that? So people think that she's actually credible.
Check, the actual number is 1.3 million, which seems like a small lie, but Taylor lies everywhere. That's what I'm getting at. It's easier to catch Taylor lying, this New York Times reporter lying, than a T-ball tossed by a toddler. So along with her lack of accountability and waffling on stories.
Well, I feel like it might be hard to catch a T-ball toss from a toddler if they don't throw it far enough, you know?
Or numbers. The digging up of other people's tweets, the doxing of people's moms. I'm starting to get the vibe that maybe this reporter is a bad actor and has a problem telling the truth. In the past 2 months, Taylor has at least twice publicly lied about Netscape founder Mark Andreessen. Two big...
I mean, that guy did have an interesting egghead, so...
factual errors for a New York Times reporter. But she lies over really small things too, which in my opinion destroys her credibility when covering big subjects. Here is an example that distills the banality of this reporter's dishonesty, and one she cannot wriggle out of. After getting hired by the New York Times, this reporter subtweeted a colleague, a female writer named Zeneb. For those unfamiliar, Zeneb is one of the most well-respected writers by readers and experts alike. She was way ahead on the COVID data, thoughtful, switchblade smart, curiously.
I don't know if any of these things are true. No, she does seem to be pretty accredited. New York Times columnist, she's a sociologist, public affairs at Princeton University. She's one of the most prominent academic voices in the social media, and in 2022, she was a Pulitzer Prize finalist for insightful, often I can't remember what is this, prescient columns. Okay, yeah, so it seems like she's pretty fucking reputable. Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Well-respected writers by readers and experts alike. She was way ahead on the COVID data, thoughtful, switchblade smart, curiously, also like Claudia, is a successful woman. So what's the...
Is that the pattern Taylor Lorenz just constantly say, like going after women? Like MrBeast?
Story here. Okay. Zeneb 2 years earlier had called our reporter unqualified to report on social media, and Taylor never forgot it.
Well, I mean, I could see why. It seems like this woman's an actual, like, decent intellectual person, and she doesn't want to be discredited by the existence of Taylor Lorenz, because the existence of her just, like, sullies her own fucking name by association, no? Isn't that what it is?
17, Zeneb had wrote, her responses to Tressie were condescending, ignorant, and rude. She deleted them, so you can't see how out of line she was to someone who was politely commenting. Tressie is brilliant, and Taylor's utter rudeness was just unacceptable. I'm surprised the journalist is surprised. To me, that's a sign she's unqualified to report on the attention economy. 2017, 2 years later, Taylor Lorenz begins subtweeting her, but a New York Post reporter named John Levin recognizes Taylor chirping at Zeneb and calls it out. And what follows is the most mind-numbing spat we can imagine. Mind-numbing but important, because it reveals Taylor's dishonesty over even the most trivial subjects. Our New York Post reporter calls out Taylor Lorenz chirping at Zeneb on Twitter. Taylor responds.
Wait, at her first week? It's her first month of the job in New York Times, and Taylor Lorenz is already taking him into one of her own colleagues. over a series of tweets from 2017. How fucking unprofessional.
Blocks the New York Post reporter on Twitter. The New York Post reporter.
Dude, that's what a terrible look to block a fucking reporter as a reporter on the internet for calling out your bad behavior. Jesus Christ, how the fuck is she still employed?
Screenshots he's just been blocked by Taylor and tweets out the irony. But then Taylor unblocks him and tweets, "You're literally not blocked. Stop trying to make things up. It's so desperate."
Dude, she's so fucking catty. What the fuck?
Law. And then adds to her followers, "This guy literally photoshopped being blocked by me to try to get clout. LOL.
Now I know why she likes Hassan, because she is super comfortable with lying constantly. Holy fuck.
Like how desperate you gotta be. Like, ouch. Therefore, the New York Post reporter now has to respond to defend his credibility and tweets, "Taylor Lorenz is accusing me of photoshopping this, which is a lie. She is a reporter for the New York Times." Okay, so this problem is simple and binary. Either the New York Post reporter is lying, or the New York Times reporter is lying.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would just say Taylor Lorenz has no credibility, so.
One of these reporters is lying, but which one is it? I spoke to someone on Background who worked with both Taylor and John at Mike, and they can confirm the New York Post reporter did not Photoshop anything. And I was able to locate Taylor's DMs to John, which showed...
Damn, nowadays she would just be saying it's all AI.
Taylor literally...
It's crazy because in 2017, she's 41 years old now. 2017, what's that, 8 years ago? So she was like 33. So she wasn't even like a fucking kid. She was like a 30-year-old woman making up lies about people, photoshopping her. What a pathetic loser. Holy fuck.
DM'd John right after he said he had not photoshopped anything and said, "Do I need to block you again," in all caps.
Wait, what the fuck? Is she stupid?
Chopped anything and said, "Do I need to block you again," in all caps.
That's funny. She's incredibly fucking stupid. Holy shit.
Thus confirming she had indeed blocked him and was lying about the entire thing the whole time. And then when...
Dude, unironically makes sense why she's so comfortable in Hassan's orbit. She is a legitimately fucking catty little petty liar, just like Hassan. Like, Ethan's a fucking petty bitch, but Ethan is an honest petty bitch. So that's why we like that. She's just dishonest. What the fuck? Dude, I don't understand how people are so comfortable lying like this. It's just gross and pathetic.
John
oh my
doesn't
God.
take down that he's not photoshopping anything. The messages become bizarre. She starts harassing him and acting on behind the scenes.
Wait, she doesn't get a response. She double texts. Oh my God, dude, she double texts. 8 minutes, he doesn't respond to her. And by the way, this is 2019, so she's like 35. She's fucking my age at this point, I think.
She starts harassing him and
double text after 8 minutes on red, dude.
Acting on.
Thank you for the help. I appreciate it. Oh, maybe he responded and it was edited out? No, I don't think that's true.
On behind the scenes. 4 hours later. "Thank you for the help. I appreciate it." Smiley face. 5 minutes later. "Could you retweet this one too, please? Thank you. Really appreciate it." Prayer hand prayer.
I'm assuming he's retweeting stuff that makes her look stupid, and then she's like, "Oh, retweet this too," and she's trying to be catty.
Prayer hand. It's sarcasm. And then finally, when he still has not responded, at 8:03, ha 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 ha. "So funny you can't tell what's a joke. Lol, I'm dying."
Dude, this woman is actually pathetic. It's funny, but it's also almost scary. This is the type of woman that you break up with, and then she lies about you doing something horrible to her. Like, she's a fucking crazy person, but then goes to the internet and says you're like a fucking narcissistic abuser. Like, that's the kind of person that she is. Holy fuck.
No, she got
Jesus
caught lying.
Christ.
After publicly lying about another reporter, she then taunts that reporter.
Oh, am I a little louder than the audio of the video? I'll turn the video up a little bit here.
About her lies and DMs him unsolicited sarcastic messages. This reporter is willing to call another reporter a liar and knowingly lie to her own audience to try and win an argument. This small but instructive conversation was difficult to pin down because, again,
41-year-old mean girl, true.
Taylor deletes all evidence of her tweets. Tweet deleted, tweet deleted, tweet deleted, tweet deleted.
Jesus Christ, what a bitch. What a dishonest piece of shit.
But then I found a female software developer named Mason Hartman who
Then I found another woman that Taylor Lorenz likes to harass because she loves women.
shared an eerily similar experience with Taylor.
I actually do think that, I honestly do think that she's like, severely self-conscious about how she's like worthless, because she's going after people more successful than her, really just on the basis that they're more successful than her. And then she's getting criticism from people who are better than her at her own field, and she's trying to go after them and take their reputation down. And then she's going after people like Philip DeFranco, saying that he's not a real journalist, but like she's not either. She's a lying piece of dog shit.
Writing, at one point, she even falsely claimed that I had photoshopped a screenshot that I had taken of a man making a fairly horrifying comment about me. Once she realized that several other people had seen the tweet I had screen capped, she deleted the accusation and disappeared.
Damn.
When it's a woman she dislikes who's receiving nasty comments online, her first impulse is to claim with absolutely no evidence whatsoever that woman is lying. She's too often the perp or enabler. So the fact that we can confirm Taylor has lied twice in the exact same pattern and then deleted her tweets to try to erase the evidence means she likely does this frequently. This reporter is willing to
and brazenly. She doesn't seem to give a shit.
Call another reporter a liar and knowingly lie to her own audience, and when caught lying, her inability to acknowledge she was lying should be worrisome to any reasonable reader. What else is she willing to lie about? Personal anecdote. But when I was trying to confirm a few details on this, I had an editor call my phone number, which was not public, asking why I wanted to know. People are literally scared of calling out Taylor. They don't want to lose their jobs. Because
That's so funny, because I mean, like, this was 4 years ago, so that might have been true. But like now, she's such a fucking loser. Like, everybody just mocks her. She's the literal lol cow at this point. I think that the only like people outside of like the space that she reports on, let's be real, because she reports on the same shit like we do, basically. They don't realize how much of a loser fucking lol cow she is, but that's what she is.
She calls people's bosses. To close out this chapter, I'll share what Zeneb wrote in response to Taylor. Quote,
You know, Zeneb sounds like a name backwards, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to shit on them. Zeneb. Z-E-Y-N-E-P. Oh my god, it sounds like penis backwards. P-N-Y-E-Z. Zenep, penis. Hey! I just started to like that person 10 times more.
Don't care about being subtweeted. No need to tag me, obviously. But just for the record, I'm not a journalist. As per your subtweet, and neither is Tressie. And we like our facts. Here's what had prompted my reply to you. You had completely missed her, as usual, super smart point. Zeneb, September 24th, 2019. So Zeneb was defending a woman, while Taylor, again, was attacking another one.
Damn, she do be attacking women, dude.
Younger viewers may remember during the last year of the Trump administration, Kellyanne Conway's 15-year-old daughter, Claudia...
Oh, I vaguely remember. Didn't she have like a TikTok presence? It was such a weird situation.
Making
I think she hated her mom, too.
eye-popping TikTok videos about her family. These videos were frequently intense, dramatic, and unsettling.
Oh, this is something.
I have people supporting me right now. Don't touch my phone. My live stream.
Right, you need to turn it off right now. Then we'll get back to it. I gotta tell you something. You can get back to it. Turn it off. Hi. Turn it off now, baby.
No, I'm not okay. Thanks, guys, though.
Why dodge this?
Immature. Before you get it all over the sheets that I cleaned.
Can you stop?
No, you don't ignore me. Asshole. I text them all day long. And they're paying attention to you because they know.
And these videos would frequently go viral. And the initial viral boost behind Claudia's videos? New York Times reporter Taylor Lorenz, who was sharing these videos with her 200,000 Twitter audience, saying, quote, Claudia is not holding back, end quote. Now, of course, Taylor has deleted her promotional tweets in an attempt to hide that she ever did this. Predictable. But I found Bustle's reporting, Slate Magazine's reporting, Business Insider's reporting, Washington Examiner, quote, in June, Claudia had about 31,000 followers. After Taylor boosted her celebrity to hundreds of thousands of Twitter followers, Claudia's own TikTok following skyrocketed to nearly 650,000 followers. So we know Taylor was boosting Claudia, even if ever since she's tried to hide it. Again, interpersonal family problems are rarely solved in front of the public.
No, obviously not. I mean, it just seemed. I mean, to me, that was like evidence that they're fucking. Well, no, actually, I mean, that was like her daughter having a fucking crash out. You probably shouldn't be signal boosting that kind of stuff. I just remember it being fucking bizarre. But
particularly when you have a New York Times reporter promoting the drama for sport. Indeed, people criticize this adult New York Times reporter for sharing 15-year-old Claudia's videos. And Taylor's response? Taylor argued that she had done nothing wrong because she and Claudia were, quote, mutuals, end quote.
Well, it's a 15-year-old girl, but...
And that Claudia, quote, literally talked to her, end quote, about getting more followers.
So you had a conversation with a 15-year-old girl where she expressed she wanted more followers, and then so the way she wanted to do it was by having a crash out on her family, which she probably didn't like, because Kellyanne Conway is a fucking piece of shit bitch. But I don't know, it doesn't really seem responsible. I don't know, having a private DM session with these fucking people, that's part's very strange to me. You don't think that that's irresponsible to do something like that? No? Okay.
Oh, a New York Times reporter is just graciously helping teenagers get more followers on TikTok.
If I heard that, like, if a 15-year-old said to me in private, hey, I really am interested in having more followers, and then they proceeded to have a crash out moment with their parents, I would probably think, oh, there's something very performative about this. Maybe I should stay away. But then again, I wouldn't be caught talking to a 15-year-old. I also wouldn't not be caught because I wouldn't even be doing it. Like, I don't understand. I know that there's nothing sexual about it, but it's just strange. It feels like a boundary that you should know not to, like, fucking interact with, like, young people on the internet like that. And, like, in a private space. It's not, it's not responsible.
Or is it more likely that the favor of promotion by a New York Times reporter will be used as leverage to extract information from teenagers if they become valuable as sources like Claudia?
Yeah, especially without parental consent too. Like, I know that I don't remember the source of the videos, or like not the source, the subject to what degree. I mean, she clearly was not happy with their parents, but still, like, what are you fucking doing? You don't. It's a 15-year-old. You're fucking supporting their crash out on the internet.
I think the term is power imbalance. Taylor Lorenz creates a power imbalance. But even when 15-year-old Claudia's dad, George, pleaded with the media to desist from contact with her daughter, Taylor continued. George, quote, to journalists, Kelly and I do not consent to any communications between you and our minor children, including...
that seems like a legal issue, right?
...our daughter, Claudia. So desist. Even after that, Taylor continued to amplify his daughter's posts. Why? Because establishing a, quote, mutual, and, quote, as she calls it, relationship with 15-year-old Claudia is not an anomalous event. It seems to be Taylor's MO, like when she established contact with 15 or 16-year-old A.J. Mitchell in 2017, so she could use him as a source when he turned 18 in her article, Jake Paul promised them fame, was it worth the price? Or 17-year-old who was given quotes in one article and then felt pressured to say something negative about another person in the second article. You see, this New York Times reporter likes to talk about TikTok. TikTok is a hot topic.
It's true.
And a lot of TikTokers happen to be very young people. Now, does this New York Times...
They're also into, like, well, at least back then, that was a very new space back then. I mean, we're talking about 4 years ago. So 2021, I mean, that was a huge new space with just a lot of energy going on in a very unproductive way.
Times reporter approach reporting on young people with the thoughtfulness and grace we've come to expect from her? No. Taylor told Digiday that the parents of the teens she talks with for her stories, quote, often aren't fully aware, end quote, that she's in touch with them.
Oh, so it just seems like she's almost engaging in some kind of a loophole to justify her her talking to, like, these young people. It's like, well, their parents aren't really aware necessarily, so, like, I'm not technically in trouble. I mean, I'm not. Is it a consent issue if the parents don't know? Again, I know she's not trying to sleep with them, but it seems incredibly unprofessional.
Allow me to quote the article. The biggest, most challenging thing about my job is getting teenagers to talk to me on my phone or having them let me into their house.
What the fuck? The biggest, most challenging thing about my job is getting teenagers to talk to me on the phone and getting them to let you into their house and follow them around. To have a photographer come in, overwhelming. A lot of kids don't know anything to do with it. don't want anything to do with it, especially if their parents aren't fully aware of what they're doing. I really do not call myself a teen reporter, mostly because of the stuff that I write about has nothing to do with teenagers. I've been writing, that's not true. I've been writing about this stuff for a long time, and only in the past few years did people associate my beat with teenagers before my beat. Dude, that's so fucking weird. Imagine a dude unironically saying that. Yeah, my job is to get kids to let me into their house with photographers when the parents don't know about it. Yeah. Don't worry though. It's nothing. It's not that bad. It's nothing to do with kids. It's nothing to do with teenagers. But you know, it just happens to always be teenagers, you know. That's fucking crazy. That's insane. That's like a huge boundary issue. Why the fuck would she ever be why would she ever be comfortable with this?
Is getting teenagers to talk to me on my phone or having them let me into their house. A lot of kids don't want anything to do with it, especially if their parents aren't fully aware of what they're doing.
As a formality, do you mind if I tape on my end? I'm not gonna name you. I'll keep you anonymous. It just
for sure.
Whoa, that's a 16-year-old. They go through puberty early.
Were you like hopping on calls? Like these were phone calls, right? You were talking with Taylor. Yeah, and your mom was listening too, right? Or no?
No, my mom was not listening.
Oh, okay. So did Taylor ever reach out to your mom?
Are you even allowed to do that? Are you allowed to talk to these kids without their parents' consent?
No, she never reached out to my mom.
She just went straight to you.
Yes.
Did that strike you as odd?
For me?
Yeah.
For me?
I mean, it might now in hindsight, but probably not back then, honestly. I could see them being like, oh no, because that's what kids think. They think they're grown-ups. So they're like, oh no, they just want to talk to me because I'm fucking mature. You know what I mean? You know, I could imagine that they're not necessarily that concerned about it. They're just like, oh, this is like whatever. This is like a whatever thing, you know. It's like, oh, it's not a big deal. Like whatever. It's just like they want to talk to me, you know. Period. You know. I would not doubt that at all.
Dating too much just because of, you know, like 2021. Like everyone reaches out to everyone somehow these days.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, like, I kind of understood that in a sense. But then again, I also kind of saw it coming because I knew that she was kind of working on the article. So, like, I was kind of, like, told, like, oh, you, like, watch out if you get this message because, like, you should respond to it.
Oh, okay. So, wait, one of your friends told you that? Or, like, one of the...
Yeah, no, one of my friends.
Okay, so was like, hey, Taylor's working on an article. Respond if she messages you.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Their parents aren't fully aware of what they're doing. Luckily for Taylor, quote, women have the advantage here. I think it's much easier for me to slide into these people's DMs in a non-threatening way than from a male journalist in his 30s kind of DMing random teen girls. So I definitely use that.
Yeah, it does seem like you can get away with it. It's really strange. Very strange.
That to my advantage. I definitely use that to my advantage. She uses her gender and her well-developed social skills to establish connections with minors so she may mine them for material or as sources without their parental knowledge. I don't really use email. My Instagram
I mean, listen, it's clear that she's not trying. I don't think that she's trying to sexually exploit any of these people. But there's a huge boundary issue with what's going on here. It's like a horrifically fucking huge boundary issue.
This is the first thing I check in the morning. I want them to feel casual enough that they could message me at any time. Here's a text of a 17-year-old TikToker saying they're scared of Taylor.
I'm scared of Taylor. I don't want her to like kill me or something. Why are you scared of her?
Which is not that unreasonable if you're a 17.
So what's like what is the interpretation of that information? Are we saying that they might be scared of Taylor? And so maybe that's why they don't ignore what she says, because they don't want to get like in some kind of trouble with Taylor because they feel like she might try to ruin their career. I mean, that's possible. I mean, Taylor is the one with the power imbalance here. She's the one that should be making people comfortable to not talk to her. I wonder if she does that. I don't think that she does. I don't think that it's not unreasonable to speculate that either, because she doesn't even get the parents' consent in there. So she just seems to message people without their parents even knowing about it, and then tries to fucking get them to talk to them. Do you think that she creates a comfortable space where they can feel like they don't have to that they feel like they don't have to talk to her. I don't know if I believe that. I think that they might not. I think that they might like actually. I would not doubt if she, whether it's intentional, like actively or not, makes them feel pressured.
18-year-old TikToker talking to a 36-year-old New York Times reporter who has the power to make or break your reputation for the foreseeable future. I think the term is power imbalance.
Yeah, that one's pretty fair. These are young people. They don't really understand boundaries the same way. So I wouldn't doubt it that some of these young people are feeling like they have to talk to her or else they could have a negative impact on their career. I could see that, you know, and I'm not saying that she's actively doing that, but like she might be passively doing that. And that's why you as the adult need to make sure that they are comfortable. And one of the ways that you do that, I don't know if you know this, guys, you get parental consent when you talk to kids. Oh, what the fuck?
I didn't have really any conversation with her.
Okay, with the New York Times one?
Yeah, Taylor. She was trying to convince things and blah, blah, blah. So, you know, it's difficult because just a kid, I mean, 16, 17.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly don't know the whole story of what either.
Okay.
I can't remember. But she was not saying nice things about that wasn't nice.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe that she had called several times.
Okay.
Okay.
The bleeps are killing me.
This is not cool.
Yeah. Huh. And then it looked like, I guess I don't want to take up all, your entire day. It just looked like Taylor talked and something like, she was apt shit an agenda, and then they spoke, really saying anything negatively.
The fucking loud bleeps are killing me.
And then make it into the article.
Yeah, I mean, then she started going out.
Oh, really? What did...
Yeah, I believe so. Like, I don't think she was getting what she wanted.
Oh my god, dude, come on.
That's all I can think of,
Right, and then so she started going after...
Yeah, I don't know why the sensors are so fucking loud. Like, I can't even really process the information because I'm getting so fucking triggered.
Did you...
I'm actually getting a headache. God, dude, come on.
Right, metaphorically, yeah.
But I think any reasonable juror would conclude repeatedly using her power as a New York Times reporter and her age and skills to extract stories and drama from
teenagers
again and again so that she can...
Oh, he probably said kids. And he felt like he needed to be more careful with the verbiage that he uses, so he used teenagers so that like Taylor would not have a case in case she decided to try to like sue him or something. That makes the most sense to me. Okay.
Materially benefit from her job is a form of unsavory objective. Again, I'm not the first person to raise eyebrows here. People criticized her in March for being a 36-year-old reporter who slides into the DMs of teenagers. Her response? First tweet, her critics are full of, quote, bad faith bullshit.
You want to know what? I figured it out. Taylor Lorenz is a theater person. There's something super fucking weird about theater people where they think that they're still young people. They think that they're still young, and they think that for whatever reason, it's somewhat acceptable for them to talk to like young people, not even in like a predatory way, but just in general, because like, hey, I'm one of the young guys. I'm still hip. I'm still cool. I'm young. I'm only 20 years old, even though you're like 30 something. I think that she's like I think that's what it is. I think that's what it really boils down to, is that she thinks that she's younger than she actually is. And like, it's because theater people have like weird boundaries. Theater people are weirdos, and I don't know if I can articulate it that much, but I mean, it's like the cool teacher, It's like Hannah from Girls. It's true. Wow, thanks. I'm a professional musical theater teacher. Yeah, but it's true, right? Like there's something weird about it. Like why? Like you guys will fucking you guys feel like you're the cool aunt. You know what I mean? You guys think you're the fucking cool aunt, but you're really just kind of like socially awkward.
And of course, delete the tweet. So we have a reporter who rifles through other people's history looking for a negative narrative on them, deletes their own record of errors, doxes people's family members, misleads about the reach of the reporting and their quotes,
and slides into the DMs of your teenage son's or daughter's Instagram account. I'm warning you, this reporter is on the prowl as we speak.
Hide your kids, hide your wife, and hide your husband because
Taylor is DMing them.
She's doing well. Alright, I know we're like 30 minutes in. It's getting long, but we need to keep going. There's still some evidence that requires us digging up. It's gonna get good.
New location, I'm traveling, but video must go on. In December 2019, Verge reporter Zoe Schiffer and friend of Taylor Lorenz published this incredibly interesting but terribly damaging article on the CEO of Away Luggage. The reporting detailed an environment of alleged intimidation and surveillance of its employees by its female founder and CEO, Steph Corey. And when the story dropped, emotional baggage former Away employees describe a toxic workplace, this was immediately cheerled by Taylor Lorenz. I remember sitting...
What is it, unverified information that was based off of like very little?
My office in Yahoo with a buddy watching the nuclear fallout in real time. Steph Corey resigned from Away, the board issued an exclusive interview to Wall Street Journal, and Corey apologized in a desperate dash of PR to save her company's reputation. It was a big story. However, after a few months, Steph Corey had a change of heart. She felt the Verge article had been unfair, and her response an overreaction. She talked to the board, she resumed her position as CEO at the company she founded, and she did an Instagram Ask Me Anything. And one of her followers asked her why women were being targeted and who she thought was doing the targeting.
He's gonna be Taylor Lorenz. Yeah, obviously they're probably going to say Taylor Lorenz is a part of it. I mean, it's kind of tough because that individual decided to step down and, like, I mean, you could argue over-apologize, but that is an admittance of guilt. I mean, you could also argue that they only did it to try to save face because people were getting attacked to a degree and they wanted to, like, protect their employees, but it's going to be a little tough.
And we can read Steph Corey's response. She spoke about how she thought journalism incentives had shifted and how this new economic model affects the reporting done by young reporters. But not...
I mean, that makes perfect sense. Again, this was all post 9/11, and I know it sounds so silly, but 9/11 was so huge. 24-hour news cycle is something that started in like the 1980s. I think CNN was the first one to do it. But it really popularized after September 11th, and the biggest part about it is sensationalization started to really take hold because September 11th was such a massive thing and there were a significant amount of views to go around, and so after that reporters needed their next 9/11, and so all of a sudden everything was like trying to have 9/11 energy, and that's why we are so sensationalized and so polarized and so divisive. And I think that like a normalization of sensationalized information is part of what has kind of led to us being where we are today, which is in a fucking toxic hellhole. I think that's a big part of it. So I think that the 24-hour news cycle is a huge issue when it comes down to these things.
Fine answer, particularly from someone who has just gone through the PR nightmare.
And so I think that that's why like it's more normalized, and people like Taylor Lorenz feel very comfortable doing this kind of shit. Like they feel really comfortable going fucking insane and saying wild shit, and like people don't call them out enough, because we have too much of a normalization of like non-normal human behavior.
An incredibly damaging story. I've linked it down below. You can decide for yourself whether you think it's a hit piece. Frankly, that's beside the point. Because when Steph Corey answers this Instagram question, who appears on the scene like Rita Skeeter ready to drown Hermione, but Taylor Lorenz, who tweets to her 250,000 followers. Steph Corey, disgraced former CEO of Away Luggage, is ranting on IG stories about the media. Her posts are incoherent, and it's disappointing to see a woman who ran a luggage brand perpetuate falsehoods about the industry she has zero understanding of. One, notice how...
I think everybody has a general understanding of the way that these social media things go on, so, yeah.
Taylor makes it about gender. Disappointing to see a woman. And two, I work in media. Steph's answer makes sense. But more importantly, we have a New York Times reporter who randomly, 1, attacks a female CEO out of the blue, 2, makes a factual error. Steph Corey is the current CEO of Away. 3, violates New York Times social media guidelines. I don't care about that. But 4, the one I do care about, is when she is called out for her verbal broadside into Steph Corey, Taylor plays victim and omits her own attack. Balaji, a business contemporary of Steph, calls out Taylor for her random harassment and factual error, and rather than Taylor retract the statement or apologize, she doubles down and takes to her audience, writing that Balaji has been ranting about me by name for months now. He has tweeted speculation about my salary, bashed my education, my writing, my career, and worse. I've tried to reach out to him privately. Today, he declined my call once again. Honestly, how should I handle this? That conveniently ignores Taylor started all this by being the one who randomly attacked Steph Curry. But Taylor continues on, writing, quote, I've worked so hard to become a writer. I took a massive pay cut to lead the strategy side of things. I take my job seriously and
I mean, how was she able to do that? Just because her fucking parents are rich or something?
Built a reputation as someone who is fair, empathetic, and honest.
That's not true at all. What the fuck?
Not sure that's her reputation.
That is not even close. Dude, like I said, my first interaction with me, the first interaction I had with her was completely on her being unfair to people. She's like a 40-year-old clout shark demon, fucking an inhuman person that has no understanding of people's controversy. She's one of the most toxic, worthless pieces of dog shit that I've ever seen. And yet she has no self-awareness to that.
I think it's fear, if I'm being honest. Total abject fear. It's part of what makes this video so difficult, because I know multiple reporters of different genders who are scared of speaking out against Taylor Lorenz,
yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
Even though they've had direct negative interactions with her because they don't want to jeopardize their careers. And I know of multiple TikTokers and influencers that are equally scared of Taylor.
Yeah, I mean, she was a big contributor to like fucking infinitely canceling this kid Denelli.
And worried that she may wield her power at the New York Times to obliterate their future careers.
I'm surprised that New York Times still keeps her on with how fucking how much of a piece of dog shit she is. I guess it's just because they don't know the landscape on the internet, so they just don't realize how unprofessional her shit is.
Her reputation is not empathetic, it is fear. What I can say is that people may be less likely to call her out if she took accountability for her own errors. But no, instead there's always a double down. This guy Ruben.
Hey, gaslight, gatekeep, girl gross, you know?
Whom I don't know from Adam, but wrote, I don't agree with everything Steph wrote, but how are her posts incoherent? And Taylor responds, it's completely wrong and delusional. So not only is Steph Curry a disgraced former CEO, but she's also delusional. Taylor is simply gaslighting here to bury anyone who disagrees with her opinion on Steph Curry. It reminds me of the same way she lied about the New York Post reporter photoshopping her for clout, or about the female software developer and how she claimed she was a liar when it was Taylor who was lying. Anyone who disagrees with Taylor is a liar or delusional, according to her. And I'm sure the same inverted pyramid of piffle will be spread about me. I don't know of any other reporter who behaves like this. But to pluck a cherry of irony off the tree of fate to bookend this chapter, after Taylor going on about Balaji has been ranting about, I've tried to reach out to him privately. Today, he declined my call once again. They both happened to enter a Clubhouse chat room that same evening. And shortly after Balaji joined, Taylor left. She had her opportunity to talk to Balaji and settle their differences. But instead she bounced. So was the...
Well, maybe she just wants to do it on the internet because she's not comfortable actually interact with people online because she's so terminally online and such like a dishonest piece of dog shit. I wouldn't doubt that at all, dude. I wouldn't doubt it that she's a coward when it comes to being in person with people, but then when she's online, she feels really confident, just like basically any fucking incel on the internet. Which is funny enough, she's what she calls everybody else on the internet that disagrees with her. So I think it's like funny.
The entire message she wrote to her audience, the quote, I've reached out to him and he won't respond to me nonsense? Yes. Actions express priorities. And her action was she left. Taylor tells her audience one thing and then does something entirely different in real life again and again and again. And it becomes increasingly hard to take anything this reporter says seriously. We have a New York Times reporter who rifles through people's history to find negative narratives on them, deletes her own record of errors.
I mean, yeah, it just seems like most of her journalism is, hey guys, I want to get a story out there. Let me go dig through like 10 years of somebody's past tweets and like say, hey, that person's a really bad guy. That seems to be like the entirety of her fucking, there's her content strategy, I guess. It's fucking horseshit. So, wow, what a game.
Doxes people's family members, misleads about the reach of her reporting, slides into the DMs of your teenage son's or daughter's Instagram account, and now has a troubling pattern of attacking successful women like Claudia and Jackie and Mason and Zainab and Steph Curry. And for the sake of argument, if anyone thinks I'm making up a pattern,
that does not exist in real life? I'm not. Let me read what Ty Haney, founder of Outdoor Voices, wrote. It wasn't just me and Outdoor Voices. I have this peer group of women who became the faces of their companies around the same time. Emily Weiss from Glossier is a good friend, Audrey and Lauren from The Wing, Jen Rubio and Steph Corey from Away. We kind of came up together and did similar things in different industries. And over the past year, we have all been put on the chopping block at some point. For some crazy reason, all of these were female journalists going after female founders. I don't yet know what to make of that.
I mean, it's possible that she's trying. I mean, well, it's possible that that's not even necessarily true, but she does seem to go after women a lot. It's possible that she's trying to eliminate other women in the space because maybe she feels like if she does that, then she'll have more of a chance, like eliminating the competition type thing. It's possible she only feels comfortable with it because they're women and she feels like they're like an easier target because she's a woman. Maybe she doesn't think that they have as much like of an imposing presence on the internet, so she can go after them without like them necessarily like pushing back against her. I really have no fucking idea. You know, I think that I don't know if it's a woman thing or if it's a vulnerability thing. I feel like she would go after people who are vulnerable more than anything else. I mean, we have a pattern of it. She seems to criticize women, and every time she criticizes somebody that's like popular, like the woman earlier that was like very reputable, she got completely dumpstered. But then she talks to like 15-year-old kids without the parents' consent, which puts them in an awkward situation where they feel like an adult with a lot of internet power could potentially hurt their career because they are also internet individuals. Then she'll go after other smaller like females. She went after this kid Denelli without getting like any reasonable doing any reasonable research. Like, yeah, I wouldn't doubt it that I think that it's more of a vulnerable person thing. That's my opinion, Bob.
It's certainly been gendered. I think hugely. Steph Corey, disgraced former CEO of Away Luggage, is ranting on IG stories about the media. Her posts are incoherent.
Seventh iteration war attacks on women is fucking crazy.
I needed to re-record this because the first time I was low energy. Taylor Lorenz is emotionally draining. But this chapter is important because in this chapter, we dismantle Taylor's reporting. On August 2020, Taylor published another damaging piece on a female businesswoman. The article was titled, "Making It Big Online, Getting Signed Isn't Everything." And the subject of this article was a woman named Ari Jacobs. And on casual reading, this article is good. It paints a compelling picture of talent manager Ari Jacobs and her content houses manipulating teenagers, misleading them, stealing money from them on their quest.
I mean, I wouldn't doubt that at all.
To fame. That's the thing about Taylor. She is extremely good at writing convincing narratives. She's like an agent in the Matrix.
Plus, I think that, I mean, a lot of people will buy into that narrative. I mean, I wouldn't doubt it. A bunch of young people getting taken advantage of by, excuse me, a bunch of young people getting taken advantage of by an older person that has like a better idea of like the landscape going on in general. Like, yeah, I could see that being like a legitimate thing happening. I would not doubt that in any capacity.
Untrained eye, you would never notice the deception. But once you've been inside for a few years, you're like, wait a minute.
Which, if this is like a false story, it would make sense why she would go after it, because the narrative is more on her side here. Just on like surface level.
Upgrades indeed. Taylor is no longer combing through old Twitter accounts. So, allow me to poke some holes in Taylor's reporting and blow up this story like there's 80 pounds of tannerite inside it. First issue. Taylor, the New York Times reporter, is reporting on Ari Jacobs' management agency while not disclosing Taylor herself is signed to a competing agency.
Did she at least talk to the fucking woman?
UTA. UTA is a direct competitor to Ari Jacobs' influences, nor does Taylor disclose that a few months prior to this article, she had wrote a glowing article about UTA. And let me parry what the New York Times is going to say immediately, because I know how this game is played. They're going to say Taylor was signed to UTA prior to joining the New York Times and therefore does not need to disclose this conflict of interest to her readers. Convenient, but okay. Taylor does not disclose that her and Ari Jacobs had a friendly relationship prior to Taylor stabbing her right in the back. Here's a text where Taylor is thanking Ari Jacobs and hoping she's staying safe during COVID. Taylor writes that Gary Van...
What is the source of this? Just reminder, just remember I was there when you changed every member of the Hyde House's life. You created millionaires and changed how people as we know it. Changed how people, whatever. Fuck those people writing articles about you. I'm so tired of people trying to pull people down when they're ahead, especially women. Let me know if I can support you. Holy fuck. That's so funny. What a foreshadow. Sorry for sending that text with no context, but I saw your tweet about people hating on you and it upset me. I want everyone to win. There's enough to go around. Hope you're doing okay. There's something something insane had to have happened to justify the fucking drastic change in opinion from like, hey, everybody's giving you, like, going after you falsely to like, oh, let me go after them next. Jesus Christ, that's like a fucking glaring, like, that's an actual fucking on your knees cocksuck on that. Holy shit.
Thanking Ari Jacobs and hoping she's staying safe during COVID. Taylor writes that Gary Vaynerchuk is not associated with influences, but fails to disclose that Gary Vaynerchuk has a very personal relationship with Ari Jacobs of Influences. Taylor fails to disclose these photos taken in the Girl in the Valley house. Those are interesting, huh? Taylor doesn't disclose that Tiana Singer, one of her subjects, has no management contract with Influences. Taylor doesn't disclose that the house in question, the Girls in the Valley house, was Bella Thorne's house. Now, why wouldn't Taylor disclose that? Is that maybe because Taylor wants to preserve her own relationship with Bella Thorne while happily trashing Ari Jacobs? I think it is. Now, part of Taylor's problems, and she has many, maybe...
Didn't Bella Thorne do like an OnlyFans for what? The fact that I even fucking know that's crazy, but I don't think it was nude or something like that, so people got upset. Not me, dude. I don't care. I'm not a gooder.
Because she didn't want to accept much on background. I know this because I have all of Taylor's emails. Taylor thinks she's the only person that can play this game. I know she moved to California where life is easy, and she can interview children. Welcome to New York. I can see that Taylor gave Ari Jacobs only 72 hours to respond to all these questions before publication, and then only 8 hours to respond to an entirely new set of questions prior to publication. Indeed, I can see that Taylor really wanted
was that intentional that she gave her what would be considered not enough time? I mean, I don't know, I'm not in the media journalist space, but is that what the idea is, that she didn't give them enough time to respond to it so that like she could be like, well, I did reach out for comment, but they didn't give me a good comment because you only have us like 3 days. I don't know if that's enough time to actually have a reasonable response or not. I really just don't know. I mean, maybe it's not 8 hours. Certainly doesn't seem like enough of time to formulate like a response. I mean, if it's really complicated information, you might have to like make sure your fucking facts are checked before you send out a response.
To nail Ari Jacobs because she was probing over missed rent payments, personal missed rent payments from 2018, to which Ari's lawyer humorously responded, I fail to see the relevance to the claim here, when she has actually timely paid her rent on all content houses, and it is the kids who have in fact not paid rent at all. While I understand we aren't in a court of law, this would be deemed character evidence and circumstantial at best, and would be inadmissible in an actual claim. If factual, which I do not admit it is purely dirt being used to paint Ari in a negative light. And dirt used to paint Ari in a negative light.
I feel like she'd be a snarker, dude. I guarantee you, I wouldn't doubt it at all that Taylor Lorenz is a fucking snarker sitting there, like a specific age 3 snarker. I know that she's going back and forth with Ethan publicly because she feels emboldened because people don't like him. But it's funny because this is like probably the best time for his credibility in a long time to outside of his own community's like perspective, if that makes any sense, you know. Like people outside of his community are more charitable to him now than they have in a long time.
Seems to be the main goal of Taylor Lorenz's article. How do I know this? Well, a variety of ways. First, there was a little enterprising Mississippi reporter who talked about this subject, and he noted Taylor chose to liberally quote some individuals who were promoting a negative narrative of Ari Jacobs while omitting or choosing not to quote Ari's own rebuttals to these characterizations. A good example of Taylor's unscrupulous reporting here is the line she writes in her article, Gary Vee says he has no affiliation with Influences. This is a jujitsu-like contortion to say something that is legally correct but almost entirely false with context. But that is Taylor's way. The full context, the actual context not provided with Taylor, is that while Gary Vaynerchuk has no business relationship with Influencer's company, Gary Vee does have a personal relationship with Ari Jacobs. A relationship I can document with video that shows Ari Jacobs and Gary Vee are close enough that one of Ari's clients received a brand deal for the Super Bowl directly because of her relationship with Gary Vaynerchuk.
That's the scoop. Wow. Wow. I couldn't wait to do this phone call because I get to
Oh my God, it's the Gary V.
Back a friend who I adore and change the course of somebody else's career who I enjoyed meeting very quickly. But I'm about to cry. This is very happy so much. You're welcome. But I'll be honest with you, like, this is really about you and Ari for me. And honestly, I love art, but this is a place where I can do something nice.
I'm really excited that we were able to put this together. Gary and I have both known Ari for a very, very long time. We're huge fans of everything that she's up to out there and just her as a human being. So we're excited we're getting.
And these bullets of misleading statements are sewn like a scarlet letter throughout the article to needlessly obliterate Ari's character. Taylor reports the influencers signed by Ari Jacobs living in the kids next door house were told they would, quote, have to pay more in rent. Jacobs' lawyers responded to this allegation prior to the article in their emails and called it 100% false. Taylor ignored this. Indeed.
Why wouldn't she? Oh, I don't know why I'm about to ask, why wouldn't she put that in there? But it seems that she's clearly just wants to paint this person as a bad person, especially on the backs, again, of people like being questionable about content houses in the first place. Because it does seem strange. It is a very strange thing to have like a content house, a bunch of young people put together. I think it creates a lot of like shitty situations. I think that, you look at like the CNMA situation, it puts a bunch of like young people into a house, turns their life into a reality TV show, and then creates a lot of complications and confusion, especially when they're pressuring people to be dating. That's what they did with CNMA, that kid Jack. Like they pressured them to date in some capacity for like internet, and then things get like blurred, lines get blurred. You mix in the fact that like, Jack's parents would let them all get together and drink when they were like 17 years old at their house. It's going to create a lot of huge fucking problems that are primarily caused by irresponsible adults in the area.
The TikTok tenants, teenagers inside Ari's content house, had admitted to Ari and her lawyers that they had taken side deals with brands in order to deliberately cut out Ari and influencers of contractually obligated commission. One of the TikTok tenants, Jesse Underhill, said that another one...
Wait, that's interesting. Hold on.
In order to end her tenants, teenagers inside Ari's content house, had admitted to Ari and her lawyers...
Hold on.
More in rent. Jacobs' lawyers responded to this allegation prior to the article in their emails and called it 100% false. Taylor ignored this. Indeed, the TikTok tenants, teenagers inside Ari's content house, had admitted to Ari and her lawyers that they had taken side deals with brands in order to deliberately cut out Ari and influencers of contractually obligated commission. One of the TikTok tenants, Jesse Underhill, said that another one, Marcus Olin, had told him to speak negatively about Ari to Taylor in order to avoid paying commissions or rent.
Interesting. Okay, so they were. I don't even know how the business of these content houses would work in any specific capacity. But okay, I mean that makes sense. They were trying to go around actually having to pay whatever commission percentage, and then they tried to cancel her by using Taylor Lorenz's like negative whatever, her shitty reporting, so they could avoid paying. I mean, I don't really know how it works exactly, but if they're getting the money together and they're pulling these teams together and they're doing a majority of like the legwork behind the scenes and they're basically becoming some kind of administrator, I mean, that's going to have a profoundly professional impact or a profoundly substantial impact, especially since they're probably also trying to find brands in the first place. And so for these, yeah, that makes sense. They're basically managers that are able to like do be productive and help a lot, and they're getting like sidesteps. I mean, still, I find it really fucking weird when you have shit like this going on. But I mean, like, yeah, okay, but if they were violating that, fucking contract, then that makes sense to me. I wouldn't doubt it.
Indicating that if they were able to damage Ari and influences enough, they wouldn't have the resources to litigate the breaches in contract. Indeed, I have Jesse Underhill on record saying, "Is it true that you talked to Ari and wanted to move into the house after Ari's talk on the balcony at the content house?" Jesse: "Yes. Is it true that Taylor harassed, I am using that term closely, you to get negative info, dirt on Ari?" Jesse: Inadvertently, yes. She constantly asked for quote,
sounds like they're trying not to get themselves in trouble,
dirt on Ari, and said that my statement would make or break the case. Is it true that Marcus advised you to talk to the New York Times to get out of your contract? Jesse: "Yes. I wasn't happy with Ari at the time and didn't want to be in the contract anymore."
to
why weren't they happy with them?
Speak negatively about Ari to Taylor in order to avoid paying commissions or rent.
Jesus, it seems like this woman will like literally do or say anything to get a fucking like a what she would consider a good story for like fucking to be a journalist supposedly. Jesus Christ.
Indicating that they were
I mean, she truly is the Hassan Parker of journalism.
Able to damage Ari and influences enough, they wouldn't have the resources to litigate the breaches in contract. But I can go beyond that. I have another 16-year-old TikToker who's familiar with the situation on background, who says that
I wonder how much the parents are involved in these conversations. Like, how much do they know about whatever the fuck is going on? You got a bunch of dumbass kids trying to do their shit like this. It just seems so fucking stupid and unprofessional.
Taylor spoke to she or he and said that speaking to her and giving negative information on Ari would really help them get Instagram verified. A little carrot on a stick. Meaning if you help me, give me quotes, I'll put you in the article, that'll make you more famous and probably get you Instagram verified. But when
wow, the offers Instagram verification is fucking wild. Destroying your business relationship for Instagram verification is fucking dumb as hell.
The TikToker declined to say anything negative about Ari, Taylor told them she was disappointed in them and then took their quotes out of the article. The source is a minor, but I corroborated it with their parents. And I know anonymous sources are annoying. I don't want to have to use anonymous sources, but I am weighing the strength of the argument while simultaneously balancing the fact that I have multiple young TikTokers and reporters who do not want to go off background for fear of being retaliated against by Taylor in their future careers, which I don't think is entirely unreasonable given Taylor's history and track record of lying and deliberately going after people who disagree with her.
About that Toby said about the Instagram verification with Taylor, it was with Ari. Was talking about Taylor trying to, basically the same thing, get, bad information on Ari.
Said that Taylor had offered Instagram verification?
Yep. I mean, she said, again, my words were, she said, this will help you get verified, alluding towards the fact.
I find that funny because there's no fucking way she would be able to even get the poll to help you get verified. So she's just saying this as like a false promise to try to get these fucking people to give her information that she like wants. There's no fucking way. What would she have done to get you Instagram verified? Like, that makes no fucking sense to me.
She's gonna help verify.
What does this mean? Like this article? Or
no, this article she's writing about, and it's maybe involved in it.
Okay, so implying this article that I'm writing will help you get Instagram verified.
Yes.
And then,
how would it even help them get Instagram verified?
And the other part was the not dirt, but only wanted negative information.
But it's not even that difficult. I think by even looking at the footage, we can see Taylor's influence on these kids, as some of the TikTok influencers use very specific language that makes me think they got it from Taylor.
Waivers that anything.
Aren't you acting as an agency without a license, so all your documents are
Yeah, well, that would be what she would do. She would coach them.
Aren't you acting as an agency without a license, so all your documents are invalid?
No.
What does that mean? Acting like an agency without a license.
Working illegally? You have a license.
Tiana, are you an attorney?
I'm legally smarter than you, apparently.
Let me be clear, they signed no talent agency contract with influences. They signed management or production contracts. A small but very important legal detail that Taylor seems to obfuscate in her reporting. Like Taylor obfuscates the fact that the TikTokers didn't call the police. Ari Jacobs called the police to the house. Taylor doesn't bother reporting that fact. Just like Taylor does not bother reporting that someone spray painted.
It sounds to me, and maybe I'm wrong, it sounds to me like these kids went to this content house and they didn't realize what that would have entailed. And it's possible that it just entails adult things. Like it just entails like, hey, this is how the workforce is, but they didn't like it because they wanted to, have some kind of different control or something. I don't know. And so Taylor got in their head of like, oh, well, this shouldn't be like this and this shouldn't be like this or blah, blah, even though maybe it should have been like this because like this is kind of how it is. You're an adult, you're kind of an adult, or, this is how contracts work. Maybe you're not exactly an adult. And she worked them up and she got them to like say deceptive shit, or she uses information deceptively.
Ari is a bitch inside the Girls in the Valley house. Now, some TikTokers say Ari Jacobs did this. Ari says some TikTokers did this. I'll let you decide. But I think it's important to point out those photos.
It's just hard to tell because Taylor Lorenz is such a deceptive person and has like it's a constant it's just constantly fucking, you know, presenting information in such a deceptive way that I would not doubt that would be what would happen. I'm not saying it did, but I wouldn't doubt it. I don't think it's an unreasonable speculation based on the information that we're seeing about her.
Somehow never made it into the reporting, but what did make it,
I mean, especially since she's not even putting the full disclosure. You know, it might, some of these things, maybe none of this matters, maybe none of this context matters to the overall story, but the fact that she's not adding it does matter. You know, she could be like, yeah, this is just for context, this happened, but here's why I don't think it's relevant. Like, you could do that. That's totally fine. But she's intentionally omitting information.
And I think this is important because it shows the depths of Taylor's dishonesty, is a quote by Devion Young. A really mean and insidious quote that has no business being in the article, except again to hurt Ari's character. You see, Taylor quotes Drip Crib founder Devion Young, who says, Ari manipulates you. It's a nightmare, Devion Young said. He said she used nude photos of his to shame him. Quote, right before we parted ways, she leaked my nudes and sent them to business partners, people in my house, and potential investors to slander my name, saying I was unprofessional. But Ari did not leak Devion's nudes, and Taylor has to know this, because Taylor writes in the emails no one is alleging Ari leaked nudes. So
then why would she put that information there if she didn't actually believe that the person leaked nudes? What?
Taylor knows Devion is likely lying to her. I have the emails. No one is alleging Ari leaked nudes, and then includes the quote, she leaked my nudes.
That's just fucking idiot journalism there, huh? Fuck, man. Guys, should we all become journalists? It seems like really easy. Just to lie. What
kind of reporting are we doing?
Well, I guess if you don't like to lie, it's not easy.
Here, because I also have the text between Ari and Devion regarding his nudes. You see, someone had made Ari aware that Devion Young's nudes were circulating on the internet. She then texts Devion to ask him, why are his nudes on the internet? And his response manages to be unbelievable, claiming that his phone was getting fixed, and therefore someone had access to his iCloud and leaked his nudes everywhere. Okay. These are the texts. You can read.
Maybe somebody was sending them to the Discord kitten, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
His friend was fixing my phone, so I forgot that's how they were at my iCloud and in Snap Stories. Some girls told me he was going to pay back people that he thought missed. Oh my god. Okay. Shit, this is why if I get a new phone, I want to just like keep my fucking. I'm not going to trade in my old one, you know what I mean? Just in case I don't need anybody fucking seeing any of this shit in my fucking phone. My peepee. My little papagat.
But even more compelling that something shady is taking place is the fact that
on the verification promise, some social media sites give verification to people if they're in articles and legitimate websites. Oh, okay, I guess that makes sense then. Yeah, like if they're like a hot source of information, it's like, oh, look, this person had an article on them, they must be important enough. Okay, that might be true then. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. She's still a deceptive fuck, but okay, fair enough. Guys, you like how I didn't omit that information somebody told me in the chat? You know, because I thought it would, you know what I'm saying, dude? I'm a fucking journalist. Compared to Taylor Lorenz, I guess I am.
Allegations alleged by Taylor in her article against Ari Jacobs. Curiously, the exact same allegations are alleged against Devion Young at around the same time. Let me quote. Multiple altercations have broken out between members of Drip Crib and its staff due to
Drip Crib? Wow, incredible.
To a total lack of income from any of its resident creators. Former residents complained that Drip Crib manager Devion Young is incompetent and extremely self-centered. Drip Crib has not made any payments on the mansion they rent since March. The property management company has been trying to entice them to leave or evict them, but has been unsuccessful due to LA's current COVID freeze on evictions.
Damn, they're taking advantage of that fucking COVID laws for this shit, huh?
Since March, no rent or utility payments have been received by the property management company. Drip Crib are unable to make rent payments because they are not landing gigs and brand deals they were initially promised by Devion Young. Instead, creators complain that Young has made the entire project about him and don't believe he cares about anyone else. Devion Young, who manages Drip Crib, has not been following through with payments to his creators and has expressed frustration to many that he is not being paid by creators for rent. Man, does that seem really similar to the allegations being leveled against Ari Jacobs in Taylor's article.
We went into thinking we'd have brand deals weekly or monthly, Mr. Olin said. We were expecting a quota where we could pay half of our rent through brand deals, but we weren't getting enough deals to cover our rent. That wasn't all. We didn't have working Wi-Fi for a month, said Jesse. We couldn't go live because our live
livestream would cut out. I used to get 3 to 5 brand deals a week. Since I moved in, it's 1 every 2 weeks, and they're lowballing. At the end of
Damn, that's fucking rough. So it had a negative impact on their career doing this? That's fucked up.
July, the influencers were told they would have to cover a larger share of the rent.
Since March, no rent or utility payments have been received by the property management company. DripCrip are unable to make rent payments because they are not landing gigs and brand deals they were initially promised by Devion Young. Taylor makes no mention of the fact that Devion Young has the exact same allegations against him, while simultaneously liberally quoting him as a character assassination witness against Ari Jacobs, claiming she leaked.
So is this whole thing like him just trying to redirect it to make the competition seem worse than they actually are? Why would, for what reason? Oh, maybe to try to clear his own name by like association or something. Maybe that's what it is.
His nudes, but while Young may say that and Taylor can quote him, it does not make the quote true. I can play this game too. I can play this game all day. I can quote Ari saying that a UTA agent told her not to worry about Taylor because Taylor just wants to be famous. Taylor just wants to be famous.
That makes sense.
I was told by an agent at a
She looks a little bit like Taylor Lorenz, no? Is that a slur now?
very prominent
Chat, is it a slur to say somebody looks like Taylor Lorenz?
talent agency that don't worry about Taylor. She writes these things because she wants to be famous.
I wouldn't doubt that. I mean, like, listen, I understand wanting to, like, I don't really want to be famous, but I want to be successful. But it seems like in her attempt to be successful, she'll do it at any cost. She doesn't really give a fuck if she's like a good or a bad person. She doesn't follow any type of like moral guideline or boundary. She just wants to be famous for something.
Okay.
They represent her.
So her talent agency told you that?
Yes.
But that doesn't make the quote true. Or maybe it is true. Maybe Taylor just wants to be famous.
I would not doubt it at all. I would not doubt that.
Willing to do it over the bodies of successful women and TikTokers.
Damn. And black kids, because Denelli is black.
She constantly asks for, quote, dirt on Ari.
My words were, she said, this will help you get verified.
Because she wants to be famous.
All I can say is Taylor reports line after dishonest line, like, quote, which resulted in several calls to local authorities to intervene. Taylor omits it was Ari who made the calls to local authorities. Ari, not the kids.
Or how Taylor...
I mean, that's like such a small thing, but it makes a lot of sense that she would omit that, because if Ari was sending the call, that means that, like, they were just like, okay, something's going on here. If her omitting that is, in my opinion, probably an attempt to make it seem like Ari had the cops called on her in some capacity, and making her seem like more of the bad person. Like, oh, the kids had to call the cops on her, right? So it makes these kids seem like more victimish.
Taylor interviews Chaz Stahl, another industry talent manager, but omits to Chaz she will be using his words directly against Ari Jacobs, rather than in the abstract. A trick he realizes after the article is published and says, wait, his quotes weren't intended to reference Ari. He doesn't think Ari is a bad manager.
So I feel like if we're about the same age, and so I think that we're very ingrained in the social digital world. And I think that perhaps I had a little bit of an edge on her. And because I did have Gary Vaynerchuk's sort of backing, and he's looked at as somebody that's very knowledgeable in this space.
Right.
To discredit me would be to almost give her more credit. And I don't know. I feel like there would have been plenty of room for both of us. And I mean, there was a lot of buzz about me writing a book about the TikTok space, and Taylor has a deal with Simon & Schuster about the TikTok space.
Well, I mean, it certainly seems like if people don't go along with whatever the fuck Taylor wants, they get their career significantly fucking impacted. So I can understand why these young people feel pressured to talk their, like, that they were referenced earlier, because Taylor Lorenz seems to go after people with these fucking, like, insane hit pieces with, like, deceptive information.
I really don't know. I mean, I can't speculate on what her intentions were, but several people have told me that they feel as though perhaps I was some competition for her in the space.
Taylor conveniently,
I would not doubt that,
leaves out a lot of...
it's so crazy when people try to take out who they think there is like the competition in these spaces, because to me it just screams that they're not good enough by themselves, so they have to try to take down people. So it's like they're not good enough to rise to the top because everyone else is better than them. So they need to try to take down other people.
Complex context to distill a thorny and tangled story down to female CEO bad and exploits children. When I would argue, it is Taylor who exploits children with her leading questions and her massive power imbalance to get...
And also not, giving their parents, having their parents consent to what's going on.
The quotes she wants. Is it true that Taylor harassed, I am using that term closely, you to get negative info dirt on Ari? Jesse. Inadvertently, yes.
Taylor's very strong-worded. She's very, aggressive when she talks.
What the fuck is this?
She has a powerful voice when she's talking to you, and I don't know how to express it, but I think she's just very blunt. Extremely blunt. So it was definitely something different.
Okay.
Taylor's pushy. I can see how she's pushy.
And I can
see how she's pushy. Taylor likes to reach out to young people that are in their teenage years and talk to them without their parents' explicit consent. She's also really pushy. Oh fuck, that's fucking crazy. Wow, that's really interesting. I'm not trying to be that guy, but what if it was actual guy who people describe? If people described a guy in that exact same way, their entire fucking existence would be over. So why are people tolerating it so much from fucking Taylor Lorenz? Holy shit.
Probably predict what Taylor would say against this. That I've been tricked by Ari, that I didn't speak...
Guys, there was a Roblox protest, and... Wow, I just died instantly. Guys, there was a Roblox protest, where anti-ICE Roblox protest, where people were being racismed against. This is serious fucking business, dude. This is serious fucking business right now. Holy fuck.
Marcus or Benji, that she did the real reporting. Yeah. As far as I'm concerned, currently on the New York Times article, that Tiana Singer was promised money and fame and signed a management contract. But that is false. Whether Tiana lied to you or you misreported it, Taylor, I doubt you saw a signed management contract, because your subject, Tiana Singer, never signed a management contract with Influences, because here it is, still waiting to get signed. The only thing Tiana signed was a liability and footage waiver for being inside the Girls in the Valley house. I have it right here as well. Here is Tiana's signature, May 23rd, 2020, and it promises no money or no fame. But I guess Taylor missed the nuance of these contracts.
So then what is it? Is the content house just a house where everybody can get together and the other people help them get brand deals, but it's not like an official contract? Is it like a workaround?
Taylor's reporting has holes in it the size of Swiss cheese. Her methods are questionable at best, and she operates
I don't know, this sounds kind of sketchy. I have no idea what the fuck's going on with this shit.
A place of fear, because I'm not finished. Any disagreement?
It sounds like some of these people that Taylor goes after are still sketchy in their own right. That just seems weird to me.
With Taylor's narrative of events is met with both public and private vitriol, like when Reuters did a story on R.A. Jacobs and Taylor said this on Twitter, or wait a minute.
TikTok influencers say everybody is going to take a big hit. Okay. Reuters is doing no research and covering a TikTok house residents described as a living nightmare, whose manager has been accused of withholding tens of thousands of dollars from talent. This is the manager. One talent said leaked his nudes. Oh shit, she's such a fucking deceptive bitch. Holy fuck.
What about Taylor? You'll know this story. When female reporter Christy Smith interviewed Ari Jacobs after you did and ran a story, and then you went around this female reporter's back, called her boss, and ranted to her editor that it was irresponsible to interview Ari Jacobs, that you should not be giving Ari Jacobs a platform because she's a literal abuser. Taylor thrashes one woman, and when another woman reports on that woman, she goes behind that woman's back and calls her boss to get her in trouble. These actions strike me as deeply troubling and tyrannical. Would Taylor like to call my boss as well? The number is JOHN316. So, this New York Times reporter has a possible and very real conflict of interest reporting on one agency while signed to a competitor, but doesn't disclose this at all, and then...
This is so funny, the music just keeps looping. It's like you're playing a fucking video game from the 90s.
...is demonstrated, selectively pulling quotes to procure evidence to push Ari Jacobs, like so many women prior, into a negative light. This should be a warning to any influencer, TikToker, YouTuber. This reporter is dishonest. They have an agenda, and if you stand in the way of their agenda, they will move to crush you. And not to belabor the point, but I think it's worth noting. Taylor went after Claudia and Jackie Oshry, two female entrepreneurs, for not towing the gender line. She went after her colleague, Zeneb. She went after female founder Steph Corey. She went after female developer Mason. She went after female immigrant founder Ari Jacobs, and then went after the female reporter for reporting on Ari Jacobs. Taylor is all about building patterns to prove a narrative. I think Taylor has a pattern.
She told you. I wouldn't doubt it. Again, I think that she's self-conscious because she's fucking dog shit, so she goes after other women that are more successful, like MrBeast.
This is why black creators can't be great, because of their teams. And I was wondering, that's she said that to you?
Yes, that's all I'll say.
She did say that. I mean,
Taylor Lorenz is the one who decided to sensationalize information about a 17-year-old black kid about how he was a horrific homophobe. So I don't really think that she cares about black creators. Let's be fucking real.
Just being honest. So she.
No, 100%.
When the New York Times didn't get what they wanted, she says this is she kind of attacks you. This is why black creators can't be great.
Yeah, it definitely made. I mean, my experience in the industry was challenged. My everything right in front of my client. I'm not hearing someone who works for the New York Times and has been in the industry for a long time. She said she started as a publicist, and I don't know what I'm talking about. And as far as being an exclusive concludes everything. And like I said, an exclusive, you have to be specific on what you are exclusively given.
You said you didn't know what you're talking about?
Yeah.
To you or to your client?
Yeah, this is a three-way call.
So you guys are all on a group call, and she tells your client that you don't know what you're doing as a publicist, and that and Taylor then says, I used to work as a publicist, your publicist doesn't know what she's doing, and then she says, this is why black creators can't be great. All while you're on the call. How did that make you feel?
It seems like we have a typical white woman moment here.
In the moment, it made me feel like the audacity of this person who has not felt or been a part of our struggle as far as advocates for these creators come in and tell us why they aren't great. And I'm one of those people, I'm a Libra too. I love multiple perspectives. But it was an insult because for someone who has dedicated their college experience to ensuring that these digital creators, and have successfully done it, that these digital creators get the exposure, the money they deserve, whatever. It was really insulting. The intentions of what she said in that moment couldn't have been for us to take heed to change as much as trying to hurt me in that moment. Because that was also said, like, you.
Well, I mean, it's consistent. She's just acting like a typical white woman, you know.
It feels like you're just ruining their opportunity, and
When she said you're trying to ruin their opportunity, was that on the phone call too?
Yeah.
So Distractify ran a story, and then Taylor said, you're trying to ruin their opportunity. This is why black creators can't be great. And you don't know how to do your job, all because Distractify ran a story?
Yeah. Now that you're saying that, yeah.
I'm curious, do you think she said all that stuff on the call because she thought she could get away with saying it to you?
I mean, it sounds like she thinks that she's more socially educated than everybody else. So she says whatever the fuck she wants because she wants to seem like she's like woke and fucking edgy and cool.
100%. I feel like in this industry, in this world, people don't do things intentionally if they don't know that that is something that's okay or has been permitted before.
Let's talk about Clubhouse. For those not familiar,
This is another fucking content house.
Clubhouse is an app that allows people to group chat via their phones and set up rooms to talk about ideas. It sounds like this. I think it's boring.
Just sounds like Twitter Spaces or something.
But Taylor feels differently. When Clubhouse was in beta, she got special access and spent her hours documenting every instance of political incorrectness she could find.
Okay, Jesus Christ.
And then with the eagerness of a marathon runner bringing news to Athens.
It's crazy how like obsessed she is with fucking with policing people's bad language in the past, considering she seems to be confident in diminishing fucking black people right in front of her. I don't know. She kind of reminds me of like a kind of person who would have gotten like a black person hanged back in the day and like lied about getting assaulted or something. She's like that kind of white woman. Taylor Lorenz is like literally like the most toxic type of white woman that you could ever fucking ponder in the entire world.
She published her blacklist on Medium. She called it Clubhouse Moderation Issues and Incidents. Specific choice examples of Taylor's moderation issues and incidents are tonight on Clubhouse, a room where users say sex work is unacceptable.
Whoa.
Tonight on Clubhouse, VC hosting group panel on Curtis Yarvin, a far-right blogger and Breitbart writer, often called, quote, the alt-right's favorite philosophy instructor.
Well, that might be true. Is there a Breitbart writer, so?
Often called that by whom, Taylor? Also on Clubhouse tonight, quote, a white teal fellow telling a room, I just think, quote, racism is so overblown. Okay, people literally ran
on the internet, kind of. Sometimes on the internet a little bit, especially back in like 2020. You know, this is the time where people were putting black squares up thinking that they were fucking saving black people, so.
And people may speak obnoxiously and have problematic conversations, and Taylor can call them out if she wants. I do not care if people say stupid things, nor do I care if Taylor wants to cosplay as hall monitor and police speech. What I do care about...
Guys, would you expect that a new app that's very not really regulated yet would have a bunch of people being a little bit sussy?
Is after this New York Times reporter had enumerated the reasons why she thought Clubhouse was toxic and why she was quitting. I don't plan on opening the app again. I don't want to support any network that doesn't take user safety seriously. After allegedly quitting, Taylor was soon back with a new anonymous account trolling for stories. And when she could not find a real story, she fabricated one. In February 2020, this New York Times reporter posted on Twitter that venture capitalist Mark Andreessen was just...
That's crazy, though. That's just a crazy picture.
Openly using the R slur on Clubhouse tonight, and not one person in the room was calling him on it or doing anything about it. False. Total lie.
Did he not say it, or did nobody correct him on it?
The moderator at that room, Nate Jones, immediately rebuked Taylor's accusation. I modded that room, here's what actually happened. Felicia explained that the Redditors called themselves, quote, R-word revolution. But Mark never used that word, ever. He referenced, quote, deep value, end quote, that's all. And this
So somebody called themselves the R-word revolution and what the fuck?
This is why people block because of this horseshit dishonesty. So this New York Times...
So he never even said it in context? Like, if he said it in context, like, yeah, they call themselves the, R-word revolution or whatever. Whatever, fine. I wouldn't really be too butthurt about it. But he didn't even say it?
Reporter, like so many times before, is caught in a clear...
Wait, so if she's in the whole time, you would assume that she's recording. Did she show recording proof of that? Or did she just make this claim?
Lie. But instead of issuing an apology for falsely accusing a man, she doubles down on everyone in the group chat room except for herself. Thanks for clarifying it was Felicia saying that word, rather than Mark, as many in the room heard it. I hope you can understand.
As many in the room heard it? What? Who else heard it in the room? And why you know, like, I don't believe this. You know she would be recording what's happening. So if it was true, she would have released the recording.
And how some people in the room felt hearing it, which is a great frame narrative distortion, because nobody in that room heard Mark say the R word except Taylor. And nobody,
I don't even think that she heard it.
Felt any way about it except Taylor. And Taylor goes on to say people who use that word should think more carefully about what they're saying. But I would argue perhaps this New York Times reporter should think more carefully about the facts she reports, as she seems to get a lot of them wrong. She is the Donald Trump of reporters. Gets caught lying, looks you straight in the face.
That's so funny. That's probably like the worst slur you could call her.
And doubles down.
Except for Ethan Klein. So, August, make sure you censor Ethan Klein with very loud bleeps when I say that.
Thanks for clarifying it was Felicia saying that word, rather than Mark, as many in the room heard it.
Bruh.
I feel like I should add in here, what is even taking place with Taylor accusing Mark of calling people Why is even a word in people's vocabulary in this situation? Recently, a lot of retail investors who've gotten into the market with the rise of Robinhood, a lot of people that would normally not have access to the stock market are having fun with the stock market. And they're investing in all kinds of zany things like Dogecoin or GameStop. Legacy investors and legacy institutional media don't understand this. And they're generally condescending and negative towards these new retail investors. They call them idiots. They call them fools. They call them dumb money. There is a level of arrogance and condescension towards these new retail investors. These new retail investors recognize they're getting condescended to, and so they take that agency back.
Okay. Okay. So people are calling them stupid investors, so they decide to call themselves the R slur. Okay. So stupid.
Is an anagram of traders. Say, okay, we're not legitimate traders, fine. It's an anagram.
Okay.
And it's an...
Wait, is that actually an anagram of it? R-E-T... Oh my god, it is. That's funny. That's actually kind of funny.
Okay, we're not legitimate traders.
Guys, slurs are okay to say as long as it's funny, okay? That's the new rule. No, I'm just kidding. Don't say it. But that's actually kind of funny.
Traders, fine. It's an anagram. And it's an anagram deliberately designed to take back agency that, hey, we can make investments too. You may call us dumb money, but we're going to make...
I'm assuming this is around the whole GameStop time where people are getting really pissed because they were, I forget how it works, but they're trying to like short the stock so that they can make money, and it wasn't working out for them.
Investment decisions we want to. That is the energy behind the word in this situation. It's not used as a slur towards anyone. It's not used derogatorily. That is the context.
Well, it doesn't really matter because they're just talking about it within context. You could still call it like wrong in some capacity. But it doesn't seem like they were saying the word. They were just acknowledging that that's what those people were calling themselves. Or was he part of the people that are calling themselves that or something?
Fortunately, we are not finished with Taylor or Clubhouse or Mark Andreessen, because a few weeks after falsely attributing the R slur to Mark Andreessen, she publishes an article in the New York Times where she again reiterates her real or imagined stress that people are having unfettered conversations on Clubhouse. And for good measure, in addition, tweets a thread about how...
They probably are. It just doesn't seem like she's able to find it.
Intimidation. Female journalist has ruined her life. It's here where Tucker Carlson on Fox News and Glenn Greenwald get all turned up like overpriced avocado toast, which I think was unfortunate because it politicized and distracted from what was a real malicious slander by a New York Times reporter against Mark Andreessen. But forget about Fox News for a second. Do any of us think it is acceptable for the New York Times to misattribute actions to people without evidence? No hand?
No, I don't understand why she would do that. And again, you know she's fucking recording everything that she's seeing. So the fact that she got it wrong, I guarantee you was on purpose. Like because there's no way she's not fucking recording what she's seeing. Why wouldn't she be recording it? She's a journalist. It would make sense for her to record that. So I think that if she knew that she was lying about that guy.
Hands. Sad because she again targeted Mark Andreessen a few weeks later. They're writing, "It's Friday night and Mark Andreessen and Charles C. Johnson are in a room bashing me on Clubhouse." False. Here's the context. The Clubhouse room was titled Taylor Lorenz Fans Only, and the assertion that Mark was bashing her is false. A recording of the conversation showed the only words Mark said were literally, quote, "I don't want to talk, I'm here to listen." I don't want to talk, I'm here to listen. And when Taylor gets called on the lie, she, you guessed it, deletes the tweet.
Wow, what an incredibly shitty person. What a piece of shit. Jesus Christ, dude, this literally is, I'm not even kidding. This is like unironically, she's just Hassan Parker. Holy fuck.
It's the tweet.
You know, this reminds me of someone.
I mean, she's either dishonest or incredibly dumb. It could be both, honestly, because she just seems like she's just constantly getting caught in like for some dumbass shit.
Another fake allegation that he simply erases when it's not true. How many times is Keemstar going to be allowed to do this?
Another fake allegation she simply erases when it's not true. How many times will Taylor be allowed to do this? It's almost like this New York Times reporter has a personal grievance.
Kind of funny that Ethan was referenced here. The foreshadowing is fucking incredible.
Against Mark Andreessen and is searching for any way to publicly wound him, whether through fact or fiction. But finally, in Taylor's infinite audacity, after misattributing smear quotes to people and ruining numerous women's lives, writes on the internet, for International Women's Day, please consider supporting women enduring online
intimidation.
It's not an exaggeration to say that the intimidation smear campaign I've had to endure over the past year has destroyed my life. No one should have to go through this. And attached a link to an article. I agree with Taylor. Gender intimidation is real. But Taylor seems to be doing a lot of the intimidation. And I read every word of the article Taylor sourced because I wanted to take her tweet seriously. The article details one relatively poor black reporter living in the Philippines who has been the target of, in particular, the dictator Duterte. I'm not entirely clear how this applies to Taylor, the American living in Los Angeles working for the New York Times, but one interesting datum were the attacks on credibility. Well, I have a problem with Taylor's credibility. This video is not an attack on her personal life, nor her gender, nor her value as a human being. Taylor trolls for negative narratives on public figures to make her reporting go viral. And when she can't find any, she stitches them together with tweets, teenagers, and troubling quotes. She is quick to judge her subjects negatively, slow to...
I don't really understand. Like, this guy's like a legitimate reporter, and he's doing a content cop. That's very strange to me. I mean, maybe the whole point of it was to try to like access the same sphere that she's kind of adjacent to, which would be like this drama sphere. But I don't know if did this like necessarily like hit hard back then. It's only at 99K views. I feel like, I wonder if this is gonna really start to blow up now. Because she's starting to like really heavily insert herself into like this political drama space. Like she's actively like talks about how attractive she thinks Hassan is, and she's constantly like fucking going after Ethan Klein. So I wonder if this is gonna like really just like hit now. Like maybe this video was ahead of its time.
Divulge her own conflicts of interest and rapid to use her gender as both a crowbar to verbally bludgeon women and as a shield to obfuscate accountability by men. She is a strategic promoter of her own work and a swift destroyer of other people's. In the court of public opinion, she is a bully, pushing people around on the playground. Okay, I'm in a Twitter war with Philly D. Now f them. I hope you guys give Phil a piece of your mind.
So funny, you can't
tell what's a joke. You think she said all that stuff on the call because she thought she could get away with saying it to you?
100%.
When I was a teenager,
I feel like they could have ended it right there and it would have been great.
I worked at McDonald's.
Damn.
I grew up outside a small Midwest town.
That's why he did it. McDonald's is a competitor with Taylor Lorenz, guys. Guys, we figured it out. And we figured out why he made this hit piece about her.
There were not a lot of job opportunities. And I can definitively say serving fries is not as romantic as dancing for TikTok. But I did learn honesty and integrity. I made many mistakes in my youth, but later, when I wanted to do more in my life, I moved to New York City in my car. I arrived in New York City with an old car.
Dude, his fucking sound scared the shit out of me. I didn't realize that was him, but the fucking audio in this video is so fucking weird.
A $500 camera and knowing nobody. I grabbed any journalism job I could find, and it took me years to make any money or meet people in the YouTube community. Now, not every entertainer is an angel, but when I watch a supposed star reporter for the New York Times so dishonestly write about YouTubers.
I heard she was rising star 2 years in a row, guys.
And TikTokers and people who maybe moved to the city to chase a dream get lied about and destroyed to fill copy in Sunday's paper. Man, does that make me despise that reporter. A reporter who makes their living pulling down the dreams of young entertainers and tech developers and lying about other people. And if she did it honestly, I would be the first to defend her work. But Taylor is dishonest and read by millions of Americans who take her and her accusations seriously. And there is real harm in that. So what can we do to beat it? Well, the simplest answer is to support the very women Taylor wants to suppress. Support Ari Jacobs, the female immigrant entrepreneur. Support Jackie and Claudia Oshry. Support Zeneb. Support Brandy. Support...
This guy's name's Sean.
Mason Hartman. Steph Corey. Female writer Christy. Support the women Taylor tries to destroy. And finally, Taylor, because I know you're watching this video. I'm on a rooftop in the West Village, so life has been pretty good. But before Taylor responds, let me remind her
Did she ever even respond, or did she just ignore this?
Has the power and the privilege. I grew up in the Midwest and worked at McDonald's. She grew up in ultra-wealthy Greenwich, Connecticut, went to a fancy Swiss boarding school, and flouts around LA with the full backing of the New York Times while lying about women and other reporters.
It's kind of interesting when like all these everybody who's pretending to advocate for people like on the left, like Hassan and her, are people who grew up fucking super rich, and then they pretend that they were poor.
I am not the patriarchy. You are.
Damn, dude. Taylor Lorenz supports the patriarchy, bro. I fucking knew it. Alright, well, I'm not going to listen to that song because it's DMCA, but I mean, that was a great video. It's very interesting. Also, Taylor Lorenz, guys, pretty sure this video is just misogyny, okay?